Jisoo was a weak kid who was bullied so often he had to transfer schools, but unfortunately for him, on his very first day, he accidentally dirtied the shirt of the school's king. He thought there was no way he could escape a beating, but unexpectedly the guy was incredibly friendly and told Jisoo it was no big deal, and only then did Jisoo find out the truth. Unbelievably, this school truly had no bullying at 6 Gates High. Everyone had to abide by the rule that strictly forbade any acts of school violence. All conflicts and grudges had to be settled through fair one-on-one duels, and the person who established this new order was the student council president. Jang Hoo is also the strongest monster in the school, and just then, the top dog, Kang In-ha, appeared at the secret arena to get revenge for the dirtied shirt publicly challenging Jisoo. With no other choice, he had to accept the challenge, but because he was so terrified during the fight, the poor kid accidentally unlocked a new skill. He just felt his stomach churn violently, and then he spewed a pile of vomit all over his opponent. The arena fell silent, and the audience was speechless at this knockout. It was quite a stinky move from Jisoo, and from that day on, he didn't just make an enemy of Kang In-ha. He also became the laughingstock of 6 Gates High, and Jisoo was so humiliated he had to hide in the bathroom to avoid everyone's stares. He really thought transferring schools would be a sweet deal. Who knew it would end up being a total disaster? He figured that if he just stayed away from the arena, there would be no more fighting. And with that thought, Jisoo rushed to find Jang to ask to withdraw from the arena, but as soon as the words left his mouth, the air immediately grew tense. Jang crossed his arms, his smile fading. Jisoo just said that he didn't want to hurt anyone, and that he found no joy in it. But the kid had no idea that his decision was basically digging his own grave. Jang looked at him with a bone-chilling gaze, and then, as the student council president, he made an official announcement from this moment forward. The arena's protective shield for first-year student Lee Jisoo has been revoked simply because if you are not a member of 6 Gates, you no longer enjoy its privileges. Jisoo had now officially become the only student in the entire school who could be freely bullied. A group of boys from another class walked in, and their leader was the same guy Jisoo had vomited on the other day. A hand grabbed Jisoo's hair and slammed his head onto a cold wooden desk inside the classroom. Everyone else just ignored the scene. To them, it seemed only natural that Jisoo was getting jumped, and it was then he finally understood that the arena wasn't a playground, it was the unspoken law. Along with a brutal ranking system, and he, the one who refused to participate, had turned himself into the only unprotected prey, an open target for all the predators. The school hell had once again opened its gates to welcome him. After endless days of beatings, Jisoo's body was exhausted, and his spirit was broken. He decided to drop out of school. He gave a lame excuse about studying for exams, not daring to speak a word of the truth. I did my best. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, for being such a useless son. That thought cut his heart like a knife on his way home. During his last afternoon at school, he told himself that student life was a nightmare, but it was finally over. Starting tomorrow, I'll live a normal life. But just as he walked out of the school gates, a familiar figure blocked his way. It was Jiang standing there with his arms crossed. His eyes were sharp as blades. "Why don't you fight?" he asked in a cold voice. "Tell me what the hell is wrong with you?" Jisoo flinched, looking down. "I'm sorry someone like you, a battle-crazed maniac, would never understand. I have trauma. I was tormented at my old school, and now I can't take it anymore. I just want to give up." But before he could finish, Jiang stepped forward, his hand gripping Jisoo's shoulder tightly. He glared the contempt in his eyes, perfectly clear. "You're more pathetic than I thought." Jiang's voice suddenly roared with power, who said, "You have to fight like a professional martial artist. Skills. Forget all that crap. If you don't have teeth, bite with your gums. If you don't have strength, use your desperation. That's the true nature of a fight." A terrified Jisoo now stammered, "President, what are you talking about?" But now, Jiang grabbed his collar, gritting his teeth. "You don't even want to protect yourself." The fear and humiliation made tears well up in Jisoo's eyes. But why? Why would he say these things? Did I do something wrong? Do you think the world out there is some fairy tale garden? He screamed into his face. "Quitting school and running away. No. You will forever be a failure, gnawing on regret for the rest of your life." Those words were like poison needles piercing deep into Jisoo's mind as he staggered away, muttering, "What do you know anyway? You've never been weak." But his terrible day was not over yet. Up ahead, a familiar crowd was waiting for him. It was Kang In-ha's crew. "Hey Jisoo," Kang In-ha called out. He said with a smug look, "I heard you're dropping out of school tomorrow, huh? How could you leave without saying goodbye to us? Once you're gone, who's gonna be my punching bag?" He laughed hideously. "You think dropping out is the end of it, you dog?" They dragged him into a filthy alley, and the punches and kicks resumed. All Jisoo could do was curl into a ball. He tried to shield himself with his hands, but it was hopeless. "I'm going to die. Please stop. You should consider yourself lucky," Kang In-ha said between gasps. "If my older brother were still the king of this school, you'd be dead for real." He pulled out his phone. "Right, this is the address you sent last time, isn't it?" One of the guys in the group replied. "Of course you know my information network is solid." Kang In-ha glanced at the screen and read aloud with a sinister smile. Well, our Jisoo lives in a pretty fancy place. Apartment 1105, Building 604, Diu Thane Condominiums, Mangu City. Slowly, every single word was like a hammer blow straight to Jisoo's head. That was his home address. "We'll pay you a visit next time," Kang In-ha said, his voice sickeningly sweet. "Since you're not joining the arena, I guess we'll be seeing each other more often." No. Jisoo screamed, trying to struggle. "What are you going to do? Stay away from my family." His resistance only made them more amused. Kang In-ha held up his phone. He started recording the pathetic and desperate sight of Jisoo being pinned to the ground. Why me? What did I do wrong? I thought this hell was about to end. I thought I had finally escaped. What am I supposed to do now? How can I get out of this? 4. Amidst the physical pain and utter despair, Jang's voice suddenly echoed in his mind crystal clear. If you don't have teeth, use your gums. If you don't have strength, use your desperation. You don't even want to protect yourself. The last string in Jisoo's mind finally snapped. Fear disappeared, giving way to something more primal and dark. A growl rumbled from deep in his chest. It was not the cry of a victim, but the roar of a cornered animal. His eyes were bloodshot. He gritted his teeth, his whole body tensing with a suppressed rage on the verge of erupting. Jisoo's resistance was just adding fuel to the fire. His desperate screams became an exciting symphony to Kang In-ha. He laughed savagely, his tone filled with glee. Hearing the groans of this loser is quite amusing. Hold him tight. This game is getting more and more interesting. The lackeys tightened their grip. The external pressure was like a trigger, activating the sleeping demon inside Jisoo. In a moment of carelessness from the group, a burst of power erupted. Unexpectedly from his small body, he knocked the phone right out of Kang In-ha's hand. It flew into the air, the sharp sound of the screen shattering on the ground. Everyone's attention was drawn to the unfortunate phone. This was his chance. Senior Jang's words echoed in Jisoo's mind. Like a prophecy, if you don't have teeth, then use your gums without a 1-second hesitation. Jisoo opened his mouth and with all his strength sank his teeth deep into the hand covering his mouth. This crazy mutt let go. Kang In-ha let out a blood-curdling scream. The flesh-tearing pain made his face contort. The more he screamed, the tighter Jisoo clenched. If you don't have strength, then you must use guts. But Kang In-ha was not one to be easily bullied. He swung his other arm and landed a thunderous slap across Jisoo's cheek. He staggered and fell sprawling on the ground. Trembling, he pushed himself up. Jisoo wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his eyes blazing as he stared straight at his enemy. What's wrong? Does it hurt a lot? Kang In-ha froze. He had never seen a Jisoo like this before. A Jisoo whose eyes no longer held fear, only defiance. If I have to die today. Jisoo slowly stood up straight, his voice as cold as ice. Then I'm taking you down with me. You bastard. Kang In-ha frowned, then let out a scoff. Well, look at this. Even a cornered rat knows how to bite back. Ready now, are you? As he finished speaking, his two goons rushed towards Jisoo. But the moment they got close, Jisoo swung his arm and threw a handful of sand he had ready right in their faces. It all happened too fast, too unexpectedly. I don't need to look cool when I fight. I just have to do what I can. Kang In-ha was stunned. He couldn't believe it. That Jisoo would use such a dirty trick. Get him, he roared, but Jisoo had no intention of staying. He turned and ran for his life. Am I crazy enough to stay and fight all of you guys? He thought to himself. At the hexathlon arena, the atmosphere was still electric with shouts and fiery clashes in the ring. Suddenly, the doors burst open. Chairman Jiang, who was watching the match. Turned in surprise, Jisoo, looking tattered and out of breath, rushed in and yelled towards Jang, "I want to join the arena." The entire hall fell silent in an instant. All astonished eyes fell upon the new student. Jisoo gritted his teeth and repeated once more, each word clear and firm. "I will join the arena right after that Kang In-ha's crew also arrived, panting." Seeing this scene, Jang smirked a smile full of hidden meaning. He looked at Jisoo and nodded. "You're even more interesting than I thought." The stage lights once again shone on two familiar faces, Jisoo and Kang In-ha this time. "I wonder if you'll puke on the ring floor like last time." In the audience, a guy with a winding dragon tattoo on his arm crossed his arms and sneered, "That useless piece of trash. I should have been the one to take care of that bookworm. Not In-ha. It's all because of this damn arena." He is Park Yong-ho, the number 2 guy in Kang In-ha's gang. The friend beside him nudged his shoulder, reminding him, "Watch your mouth. Our side isn't the only one here." They both glanced towards Jiang, who was standing with his arms crossed, observing from below. Park Yong-ho growled, "I know you always have to be careful in the ring." The match had begun. Pow, a straight punch to the face. Ugh, a vicious knee to the stomach. With another punch, Jisoo spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Kang In-ha glared and growled, "What the hell did you think you could do by coming up here?" As he finished speaking, an even more powerful punch was thrown. A weakened Jisoo was sent flying into the ring ropes. He staggered to his feet, but Kang In-ha was already charging at him like a wild beast. Not giving him a second to breathe, a hook kick landed on his chin, causing more blood to pour from his mouth as Kang In-ha grabbed Jisoo by the collar and lifted him up. "So, regret it yet? If you keep taking these hits in silence, you'll end up dead one day and no one will even know." In response to the threat, Jisoo remained silent, his eyes staring straight at him without a single hint of fear. That defiance infuriated Kang In-ha. He slapped him hard across the face. "You idiot! If you want to climb high, you first need to know your place. Since you're trash, just live like a piece of trash. Do you think you're the main character in a comic book or something?" After a few slaps came a devastating kick, and Jisoo went flying again like a puppet with its strings cut. The crowd below began to whisper, "Terrifying. That's Kang In-ha for you. Is that guy dead yet?" It sounded like bones were breaking. Kang In-ha stretched and cracked his knuckles. "This is getting exciting. But why isn't he down yet?" And then, to everyone's astonishment, Jisoo once again, slowly and shakily, tried to get up. Kang In-ha broke out in a cold sweat. What the hell? That last blow should have finished him. He shoved his hands in his pockets, trying to look nonchalant. "Stop pretending to be tough. Watch out, or I might actually kill you for real." Jisoo sat up, wiping the blood from his lips with the back of his hand. His voice was hoarse. "Kill me. Is this all you've got?" Suddenly, his eyes blazed with a terrifying light. A murderous aura enveloped his small frame, and he shot forward like an arrow, tackling Kang In-ha in a tight grip. And, using every last ounce of his strength, he pushed him forward. "This pain is nothing compared to what I've had to endure." Slam Kang In-ha fell backward onto the floor. The audience below erupted in excitement. "Whoa, look, the bookworm is counterattacking. He looks hilarious as hell, going berserk like that. On the floor." Kang In-ha gritted his teeth. "Damn it. I thought he'd given up, and I let my guard down." Just as Jisoo swung his fist down. But the result wasn't what people expected. Kang In-ha was a step faster. He dodged the blow and landed an uppercut right on Jisoo's face. Jisoo was stunned. Kang In-ha laughed triumphantly, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You're slow as a turtle, and you still thought you could hit me." Jisoo gritted his teeth, a desperate thought flashing through his mind. "If I lack strength, then I'll just have to make up for it with willpower." Before Kang In-ha's astonished eyes, Jisoo did something no one could have expected. He roared, charged forward with all his might, and slammed his head directly into his opponent's face. A sickening crack echoed through the air. Blood gushed from Kang In-ha's nose, mixing with the dark red stream flowing from Jisoo's forehead, creating a scene both tragic and barbaric. That desperate retaliation acted like a stimulant. It pushed the crowd's frenzy to its peak. The entire arena roared with excitement, yet only one person remained calm, his sharp eyes never leaving the ring. The student council president Jiang muttered to himself, "Adrenaline can numb the pain, but the physical damage is unavoidable. This kid certainly has guts." Right after that headbutt, A devastating punch from Kang In-ha landed squarely on Jisoo's jaw, followed by a spinning kick that sent him flying backward, sprawling onto the cold ring floor. Kang In-ha staggered to his feet, wiping the blood from his face. His eyes were filled with rage. "You crazy bastard, you really have a death wish, don't you?" Jisoo pushed himself up, struggling to stand. The physical pain seemed to have vanished, replaced by a strange, surging sensation. His eyes lit up no longer, filled with fear, but with the defiant pride of one who has crossed the line between life and death. He stared directly at Kang In-ha. A question echoed in his mind. Is this it? Is this really all the thugs I used to be so afraid of can do in the ring? Around him, the crowd began to chant his name, Jisoo, Jisoo. The cheers fanned the flames within him. A newfound fighting spirit ignited. He bit his lip, deciding to bet it all. No matter what happened, he had to take him down. Why had he spent so many years trembling before people like this? Jisoo roared and charged at Kang In-ha, throwing a punch with all his might. But just then, a vicious hook from Kang In-ha slammed right into his chest, a knockout blow. The world before Jisoo went black. He collapsed to the floor as Kang In-ha coldly uttered one word. "Sorry, but I won't let my guard down a second time." The referee raised his hand, the winner, Kang In-ha. Jisoo passed out right on the arena floor. Everything fell silent. When Jisoo came to, night had fallen. The dim lights of the Hexa arena reflected off the ceiling. Where am I? Did I pass out? Memories of the match flooded back. That's right, I lost. But at least I did something. I knew from the start I couldn't win. All I could do was charge forward and hope to land a punch on that bastard's face. I did everything I could. He clenched his fist. But if only I had been calmer then. If only I had aimed for his groin from the start. No, he was too cautious. If only I were stronger, even just a little bit. "You're awake?" A familiar voice cut through Jisoo's thoughts. Startled, he shot up. Jiang was standing there, arms crossed, looking at him. "Jiang, why are you still here? As the student council president, I have a responsibility to watch over an unconscious student," Jiang replied in a monotone voice. "The arena is a place to protect students from violence, not a place to fight to the death, you know. This privilege is only for today. Starting tomorrow, you are no longer allowed in here because you are not an official student of Hexa. Take care of yourself." Hearing this, all hope within Jisoo crumbled. He lowered his head, his voice filled with despair. "So what am I supposed to do now?" Jiang turned to leave, but then paused. Jisoo looked up, a fire of determination blazing in his eyes. "I won't give up. Please tell me what I have to do. I want to get stronger," seeing the burning passion in the weak student's eyes. Jiang smirked, revealing a flash of white teeth. He turned back, his tone harsh but full of interest. "Training the weak is also part of the president's responsibility. Are you ready?" Before Jisoo could even process it, Jiang threw a lightning-fast punch into his stomach. Gasping for air. Jisoo clutched his stomach, looking up at his senior, who seemed like a monster before him. The next day, Jisoo dragged himself to school. The dull ache in his stomach hadn't subsided, feeling as if a few ribs were broken. Jiang's words echoed in his head. "Come find me on the rooftop during break. Persevere and you'll get stronger." He sighed. "Can I really get stronger just by getting punched every day?" "Hey, Jisoo," Jinwoo-in's voice called out. He turned around. Jinwoo-in looked at him in surprise. "I thought you would have given up after yesterday's match." Jisoo unconsciously smiled, a rare, confident smile. "I've changed my mind." Now Jinwoo-in burst out laughing, running over to put an arm around Jisoo's shoulder. "Really? Looks like you're hooked on the arena, huh?" As they were laughing and talking, they suddenly froze. Kang In-ha's gang was blocking their path. The smiles vanished from their faces. Kang In-ha glanced at Jisoo and sneered. "So the walking punching bag is back." Jisoo's eyes flashed with resentment, but he knew he was no match for him right now, so he just stayed silent. Seeing this, Kang In-ha grew even bolder. He moved closer, leaning right next to Jisoo's ear. "I didn't think you had this much nerve." "Want revenge? You should know your place. Next time I might not go easy on you," he said as the group coldly walked past. Jinwoo now looked worriedly at Jisoo, seeing him grinding his teeth, his fists clenched until they turned white. He could do nothing but swallow his anger. He vowed to himself that one day he would make those bastards pay. That afternoon on the rooftop, The first official training session began. Jisoo became a living punching bag for Jiang as a barrage of punches rained down on him. But strangely, Jiang seemed very excited. He was amused to see a weakling trying to rise up. He grabbed Jisoo by the collar, growling, "Open your eyes wide. Don't be afraid. Look straight at my fist. Until this training is over, you are not allowed to challenge anyone." Seeing the fist as big as a dumbbell flying towards him, fear surged within Jisoo again. What kind of training is this? Why do I have to endure this every day? And so day after day, the school rooftop became Jisoo's personal hell. Every day, Jisoo became Jiang's living punching bag. Every punch, every elbow strike was a painful lesson carved into his flesh and bone. The pain gradually became a familiar companion, and Jisoo's endurance was not weakness, but a tempering of steel. He was forging his will on the anvil of torment. He was determined to turn this weak body into a weapon. He would never be prey again. Meanwhile, in the hexathlon arena, Kang In-ha remained an undefeated king. But ever since that fateful encounter with Jisoo, his brutality had reached a new level. He didn't just fight to win, he fought to destroy. Below in the stands, 2 students were whispering, "Look at his face. It's like he wants to eat someone alive." A chilling voice echoed from behind them. The 2 students jumped, turned around, and froze. Kang In-ha had been standing there, who knows for how long. His eyes blazed like burning coals. "If you're so confident," he growled, "why don't you step into the ring with me?" Fear choked them, and their 2 heads hurriedly bowed down. Mumbled apologies poured out. Kang In-ha sneered contemptuously and turned away, gritting his teeth and silently cursing the trembling fools. He approached his underlings. "Where's that Jisoo guy? Seen him lurking around." "Jisoo," one of them said, scratching his head. "He's completely disappeared lately, boss. We don't even see his face during breaks. He must be avoiding the arena." A realization flashed in Kang In-ha's mind. He recalled Jiang's declaration that Jisoo would no longer be protected by the arena. A wicked and cunning smile bloomed on his lips. "I have a brilliant idea," he said excitedly, "a way to teach these pathetic runaways a lesson." That night, in a deserted park, Jisoo was pushing his limits. His shirt was soaked with sweat and his lungs burned, but he kept running. Every step was an oath. He remembered Jiang's punches, the pain that made it hard to even swallow food. "I could endure that pain. What's a little fatigue like this? I have to get stronger faster." That goal was the fuel burning away all his exhaustion. Suddenly, the roar of an engine tore through the night. A motorcycle sped straight towards him. Jisoo reacted instantly, dodging to the side, but he couldn't completely avoid a hard impact. 5 million. The driver turned back. He stopped. The bike walked over and pointed to a small scratch on the gas tank. "See this?" he growled. 5 million. "My precious bike. You have to pay me 5 million. Jisoo panicked. "Where am I supposed to get that kind of money? But you're the one who crashed into me." Without any warning, a hand grabbed Jisoo's hair, followed by a crushing punch to the face. He fell flat on his back as the savage laughter of the guy's friends erupted. "We saw everything. You're the one who ran into his bike. Ha ha, 1 punch and he's down. Weak as hell." Jisoo slowly sat up silently, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. This pain was nothing compared to what Jiang had taught him. Seeing Jisoo's lack of reaction, the guy furiously yelled, "Are you deaf? Answer me!" He raised his fist again. "You think all I want is 5 million. How stupid. Give me all the money you have right now, and from now on, you are my ATM machine." A realization suddenly flashed through Jisoo's mind. For so long, he had gotten used to being tormented by a real monster. So what were these small-time thugs? The fear vanished. Jisoo smacked his hand away, stood up, and threw a punch straight at his face. "Why should I give money to a bunch of bastards like you?" he roared, his voice filled with newfound courage. "I'm not afraid of you anymore." But his punch was too weak. Immediately, the crowd swarmed in, holding his arms and legs tight. The leader smiled slowly, taking out a set of shiny brass knuckles. "This kid needs to be taught a lesson." He smirked, slipping the knuckles onto his hand so he knows just how helpless he is. "Grit your teeth. Here I come." The cold steel rushed towards Jisoo's face. He closed his eyes, thinking his life was over, but the punch never came. A figure flew in from nowhere like an arrow. A perfect knee kick slammed straight into the thug's chin. He flew backwards and fell to the ground unconscious. Jisoo opened his eyes, his jaw dropping in astonishment. The one who had just intervened was Jin-woon, his friendly classmate. Jin-woon seemed just as surprised, then broke into a radiant smile. What a coincidence. The guy's cronies roared and charged forward to get revenge. One of them swung a fist. Jin-woon easily dodged and threw a punch straight into the bridge of his nose. The second one frantically grabbed a wooden plank from the roadside. He charged like a wounded animal. Jin-woon met him with an uppercut from below. The dry crack of breaking bone echoed. In less than 10 seconds, 3 thugs were lying scattered on the ground. Only the leader's girlfriend was left. She stood frozen to the spot, then panicked and ran to shake her boyfriend, screaming in despair. But he was deep asleep, courtesy of Jin-woon's knee kick. For the first time, Jisoo witnessed Jin-woon's fighting ability firsthand. The swift and powerful moves left him stunned. He had thought this friendly friend was just an ordinary student. Who knew he was hiding such formidable strength? Meanwhile, the girl was knocked to the ground and scrambled back up. Her face a mask of anger and resentment, she charged forward, her fist raised, growling. Hey, you 2 dogs, do you know who we are? We are the strongest first years from Jinsan Tech. Just wait until we call our upperclassmen. You'll be dead meat. Just as she was about to swing, her boyfriend stopped her. He wiped a trickle of blood from the corner of his mouth, squinting at Jin-woon warily. Don't. Stop. Look at his uniform. It is from 6 subjects high. His friend standing behind him also turned pale, muttering, We have run into a real monster. I just thought this guy was a little weird. Who knew he was from 6 subjects? Let's go. Without another word, the whole group hurriedly got on their bikes, revved their engines with a deafening roar, and took off like the wind, leaving Jisoo still dazed. Hey, Jisoo! Jin-woon turned back, his expression calm again. How did you get involved with that troublesome bunch? Jisoo told him the whole story, holding nothing back, including the part about being specially trained by Chairman Jiang himself. Hearing this, Jin-woon's eyes lit up, his voice a mix of envy and admiration. He clapped Jisoo on the shoulder. Anyway, things are better now. At least you had the courage to stand up to them. That's what's important. With that said, Jin-woon stood up and threw a few sharp punches into the air. If it were me, I would not have dodged when I first met them. I would have punched them right in their arrogant faces. By the way, getting personally trained by Mr. Jiang. You are really lucky. For someone like you who refused the arena, the most important thing now is to adapt to 6 subjects. This school is no simple place. The words of the guy on the motorcycle earlier echoed in Jisoo's mind. Just seeing the 6 subjects emblem made them so scared they had to run away immediately. It seems they left just because you are a 6 subject student. Jisoo asked in surprise. Jin-woon gave a confident smile. Of course. In this Jungneung district, our school's reputation is nothing to scoff at. Seeing Jisoo's still doubtful expression, he explained further. 6 subjects high is essentially a gathering place for the best fighters in the entire region. It used to be a school gang with a chaotic history, a true jungle where the weak become prey to school violence. What Jisoo cried out in horror. Yukmon was really like that, but it doesn't seem like that anymore. It's all thanks to Jiang Jin-do, he replied respectfully. He single-handedly conquered this lawless school. He established the arena and laid down iron rules. Now all conflicts are resolved through fair and square one-on-one matches, replacing senseless violence. But if one day the arena falls, or if Jiang disappears, who's to say this place won't turn back into the hell it used to be? There are still many who yearn for the chaotic Yukmon of old to return. Back in the arena, the atmosphere was scorching hot. On the stage, a student had just been beaten to a pulp. Trembling, he raised his hand to surrender. The victor Park Yong-ho clicked his tongue in annoyance. He hadn't even warmed up before his opponent collapsed. His eyes swept across the stands. His gaze landed on a student with glasses sitting in silence. The 4-eyed kid flinched, bewildered, and pointed at himself when he saw Park Yong-ho staring right at him. Get up here. Park Yong-ho roared, his voice full of provocation. That brainy look of yours has been getting on my nerves. Seeing the boy hesitate, he sneered. In this arena, do you really think you have the right to refuse my challenge? From above, Kang In-ha and his cronies looked down, laughing gleefully. Worthless trash, Kang In-ha thought. I wonder if they even know their place. On the stage, Park Yong-ho charged like a crazed beast, throwing one punch after another. The storm of attacks left the 4-eyed kid unable to defend himself. He raised his hand to surrender, but Park Yong-ho completely ignored him. A final brutal hook kick knocked the boy down right there. Park Yong-ho stood up, licked his lips barbarically. Too easy. As soon as he stepped down, Kang In-ha tore off his jacket, revealing a muscular physique. "My turn," he roared, then coldly made his way toward the stage from the stands. A young man with a center-parted hairstyle whispered to his friend Kang In-ha's making his move. "I wonder who his next victim will be. It won't be freshmen like us, right?" But from above, Kang In-ha spoke, his voice as cold as ice. "What are you doing down there?" Both boys flinched. Kang In-ha's razor-sharp gaze was aimed directly at the young man with the center-parted hair. "Drag your ass up here right now, you mutt," he stammered in fear. "Whoa, what me? But we don't even know each other." Kang In-ha walked down, step by step, getting closer, his breath heavy with menace. "A reason? Do I need a reason to beat up some guy I don't like the look of? This is the arena. This is what it's for. Don't you get it?" The moment he finished speaking, Kang In-ha grabbed the poor student by the collar, got right in his face, and growled each word a dagger. "Or do you want to refuse me too, just like Jisoo did?" Just then the door flew open and Jiang entered, carrying himself like a general. The air in the room instantly froze. He shot an icy glare in Kang In-ha's direction. His voice deepened, laced with killing intent. "What do you think you're doing here?" Kang In-ha released his grip on the victim's collar, forcing a casual smile. "It's just an invitation to a match, that's all. Just a small misunderstanding." He tilted his head, his gaze challenging as he faced Jiang. "What is it?" "President, I haven't broken any rules, have I?" Kang In-ha's confidence wasn't baseless. It was all part of a plan laid out a few days ago in a hidden corner of the school. You figured out a loophole in the arena's rules?" Park Yong-ho, one of the group members, asked. Kang In-ha smirked. "No need. That loser is digging his own grave. He's the first one to publicly refuse the arena in these 6 events. As long as you have all your limbs, whether you're a bully or the bullied, everyone is equal in the face of violence. They always boast about that fairness. But what if you look at it from another perspective?" He paused, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "There are those who just love to watch others bleed, but have never stepped into the ring themselves. They hide behind the rules and enjoy their false sense of security. After all, a coward will always be a coward." Another guy chimed in. "That's right. Those guys have never had to break a sweat." Kang In-ha nodded. "And that fool Jisoo has unintentionally exposed them. So now what? What happens if we challenge those who always hide behind the rules? They'll have to fight at all costs. If they don't want to become a second Jisoo." "Exactly. That damn arena is now our playground." Back in the present, knowing he hadn't broken any rules, Kang In-ha defiantly faced Jiang without a hint of fear as he walked past. He even received a cold warning from the president. "You'd better hope that attitude of yours isn't for nothing." Kang In-ha just scoffed. "Sorry for causing a scene. I'll be more careful next time." The following day on the rooftop, the sickening thuds of impact echoed once again. Jisoo was still a human punching bag for Jiang, but today's punches seemed heavier, more brutal. He felt like he was about to be beaten to death. But then something unexpected happened. As Jiang's fist flew and Jisoo suddenly bent his knees, bracing himself. Then he threw both arms up to block the blow. A perfect block. Jiang froze, his eyes flashing with surprise. Jisoo was still trembling, but inside him, a seed of confidence began to sprout. "All right, I'm not as scared as I was before." Jiang chuckled, amused. "Oh, looks like you're finally learning how to use your fists." What was even more surprising was what happened next. Jisoo roared and threw a counterpunch, though Jiang dodged it with ease. That moment marked a change. That's right. Ultimately, to win, I have to actually hit him. But Jisoo's amateurish punches, accompanied by his goofy hi-yas, were no trouble for Jiang. He dodged them easily before landing a lightning-fast hook to Jisoo's stomach. "Shut your mouth," Jiang snapped. "Stop making those weird noises. You look like a total loser." Jisoo doubled over, saliva dribbling from his mouth. He's hitting harder than usual. Suddenly, Jiang spoke, his voice serious. "There are 2 things. If you master these 2 things, you can win any fight." With that, Jiang led Jisoo to an abandoned clubroom. Cobwebs filled the doorway, and a thick layer of dust covered everything. "What are we doing here?" Jisoo asked, bewildered. Jiang didn't answer. He just jutted his chin towards the door. Inside was an old training dummy, the kind of machine that measures a fighter's punching power. Jang got into a stance, demonstrating as he explained, "First the stance, both hands up, guarding your chin. Tuck it in. Feet shoulder-width apart, move with rhythm. Second, the basic combo, a light jab with your lead hand. For the second punch shift, your weight, rotate your hips, and unleash the finishing blow." Whoosh, Jiang threw a punch. The machine only displayed 1 point, but the impact sounded like a gunshot. Jisoo's jaw dropped in shock. "Your turn." Jisoo did exactly as instructed, pouring all his strength into the second punch. He felt very confident, but when he looked at the screen, the number was still 0. It's too weak. Is this machine broken? It only activates when a punch is strong enough to be registered as a damaging attack. You need to get stronger. Figure out the right stance on your own. Don't show your face again until you can score a point. Jiang laughed arrogantly, pointing at the screen where the score from his punch had just jumped to 9,999. Meanwhile, in another hallway at the school, a student with thick eyebrows stared gloomily at his phone. A breakup text from his girlfriend had left him devastated. But everything was fine just yesterday. Lost in thought, he bumped into Park Young-ho. I'm sorry. But Park Young-ho had no intention of letting it go. He smirked and tripped the student who lost his balance and sprawled onto the floor. His phone flew out, its screen shattering. Park Young-ho burst out laughing gleefully. The student looked up angrily and yelled, "You did that on purpose, didn't you?" "On." Park Young-ho smirked, his voice defiant. "It was just an accident." "What's with that look on your face? If you've got a problem, settle it in the ring." The student with the thick eyebrows was speechless. Fear choked back any words of protest. The ring that was no different from a public execution ground. A place where he would be beaten to a pulp. He quickly shook his head, taking all the blame, his voice barely a whisper. Park Young-ho's arrogant laughter echoed, a triumphant and disgusting sound. He patted the student's shoulder in a friendly manner. "Listen up." He spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "This isn't school bullying, just a little accident. Watch where you're going. Next time, okay?" From a corner, Jinwoo had witnessed everything. He rushed to help his trembling friend. That bastard did it on purpose. Jinwoo gritted his teeth. "We have to report this to the student council. Just drop it." The friend with the thick eyebrows waved his hand dismissively, his voice dejected. "It's not a big deal." Jinwoo stared at his friend in disbelief. Meanwhile, Kang In-ha's group walked away with their heads held high, like kings bestowing a favor. Jinwoo's eyes burned as he watched them go. "I swear I'll make you pay for what you did to my friend." At lunchtime, Jisoo sat in the cafeteria trying to fill his empty stomach. "I punched that machine hundreds of times during the break, but my score didn't even budge. How much harder do I have to hit it?" he thought as he wolfed down his food, his hunger gnawing at him like a wild animal. "Watch out," a voice shouted from behind. Before Jisoo could turn, an entire tray of food was dumped on his head. Rice soup and food matted his hair and dripped slimmily down his face. "Oh, it's Jisoo." Park Young-ho burst out laughing, a disgustingly fake smile on his face. "My bad. Sorry about that. Where have you been hiding? Every break we've missed you, you mutt." He slapped Jisoo hard on the back, 1, 2, 3 times. Each slap was a humiliation. "It's so good to see you again. You feel the same way, don't you?" His vile smile, his actions, it was all part of a plan. Earlier, in a secluded corner of the school, Kang In-ha had given the order. "We have to provoke him. Drag him into the ring. We have to show him what happens when you defy us." Now Park Young-ho crossed his arms and declared confidently, "Just leave this to me. You don't need to get involved." The plan was to lure a bug out of its hole, and now the bug had taken the bait. Jisoo gripped Park Young-ho's wrist. Surprise flickered across the thug's face, quickly replaced by a contemptuous smirk. "Oh, so our dear Jisoo knows how to fight back now, huh? You look cuter when you're angry." But even though he was braver, Jisoo's heart hammered in his chest under that cruel gaze. He gritted his teeth as a cold sweat broke out. "He told me not to get in the ring. Not until I finish my training, but it's come to this. I've trained so hard." Just as he was about to lose control, Jinwoo suddenly appeared. He accidentally slipped, and the entire tray of food in his hands went flying straight into the face of Park Young-ho. "They say you shouldn't pick a fight during a meal," Jinwoo said casually, dusting off his hands, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You should learn your place, you dog." "Which bastard?" Park Yong-ho roared, wiping food from his face. When he saw it was Jinwoo, his rage exploded. Are you insane? You want to die? Facing Park Yong-ho's rage, Jinwoo simply held his head high and smirked. My bad. This isn't school violence. My hand just slipped. He leaned in close to Park Yong-ho's face, staring him down. Anyway, I've been itching for a fight with you. It's my lucky day. I'll teach you a proper lesson in the arena today, 10 minutes later in the restroom. As Jinwoon was washing his dirty shirt, Jisoo approached, his voice full of guilt. Jinwoon, I'm sorry, it's because of me that you haha. What are you talking about? Jinwoon laughed it off. I didn't do it for you. Although it's true he was targeting you, but I've been wanting to beat up Kang In's crew for a long time. Now they're wrecking the whole arena. You don't go there, so you wouldn't know they drag the weaker kids into the ring and just beat on them. They call it releasing negative emotions, then just beat people up. I can't just stand by and watch anymore. Why do you want to protect the arena? Jisoo wondered. You're so strong. What does it matter to you if it exists or not? Jinwoon stopped what he was doing and told a story from a past Jisoo could never have imagined. Before I was just like you. Jinwoon's voice grew heavy. A fat kid, a perfect target for bullies. I couldn't do anything but take it. I cried and hated myself for being so cowardly, even when they poured an entire bottle of piss into my mouth. Hell, that was the only word Jinwoon could use to describe that period of his life. He had even thought about dying, but then a glimmer of hope appeared. Someone showed up and saved me. That night, he handed me a piece of paper. Now Jinwoon held out his hand. He clenched it, as if he were still holding that fateful paper on. It was written, "Do you want to try diet boxing?" That man was the owner of a gym, and from the very first day I walked in there, my life changed. Every drop of sweat, every calorie burned, every aching muscle they forged. The person I am today, boxing saved me. It was a journey of transformation filled with pain and sweat. Every day, Jinwoon trained like a madman, transforming his fat, heavy body into a lean and agile fighting machine. His newfound strength became his weapon. He used it to get his own justice. Every single bully from his past now had to taste the same fear they once spread. Jinwoon's presence became their nightmare. Because in Saemon 01, none of them were a match for him anymore. Those wannabe gangsters. Jinwoon told Jisoo, his eyes flashing with confidence. They act all tough, but in front of me, they're nothing. Jang's rules might seem harsh, but they let me fight. With my own strength, no longer held back by the fear of being ganged up on. That's why I want to protect this place. You just watch. I'll show that bastard Park Yong-ho. A lesson in respect. The Six Gates Arena was hotter than ever today. The air thick with roars and screams. All eyes were on the main event, Park Yong-ho versus Jinwoon in the ring. The two rivals glared at each other. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. I don't know where you got the nerve to challenge me. Park Yong-ho sneered, his voice dripping with mockery. But I'll make you see that it's the stupidest decision of your life. Jinwoon just chuckled, a sly grin on his face. You want to fight with your mouth. Less barking, more biting. Eager are we. Park Yong-ho shot back from the stands. Jisoo watched, holding his breath with his fists clenched, silently, wishing his friend luck. The starting bell rang, and Park Yong-ho struck first, lunging forward like a panther. He threw a powerful straight punch, but Jinwoon dodged it with a simple fluid motion. One punch, then two. 3 of Park Yong-ho's punches in a row hit nothing but air. He was starting to find it unbelievable. And then, in a moment of weakness, Jinwoon countered with a clean hook. It connected squarely with Park Yong-ho's jaw. The entire crowd roared in astonishment. Jinwoon's speed was incredible. Park Yong-ho himself was stunned. He stumbled back a few steps, looking at Jinwoon in a new light. That defensive stance, that footwork, it was definitely professional boxing without giving his opponent a moment to recover. Jinwoon went on the offensive, gliding in to unleash a flurry of jabs like a tempest. Though caught off guard, Park Yong-ho still showed the instincts of a top dog. He skillfully leaned back, dodging them, and suddenly realized something. Jinwoon's punches were fast, but they lacked power. Is that all you've got? He roared and threw a punch in return. I'm stronger than you. He ducked to dodge Jinwoon's next punch, but it was a trap. That punch was just a feint. When Park Yong-ho looked up, another fist was already waiting for him. Bam! He couldn't react in time and took the punch right in the face. Jinwoon smirked victoriously while Park Yong-ho, furious, gritted his teeth for being so foolishly tricked. In the audience, Jisoo's jaw dropped. Then she burst out laughing with delight. So strong, so satisfying. Park Yong-ho can't even touch him. The two self-proclaimed commentators behind her were also buzzing. Park Yong-ho's winning streak is about to be stopped. This match is getting interesting. In the ring, Park Yong-ho went berserk, rushing in and throwing a flurry of wild punches. But it was all useless. Why can't I land a single hit? Now Jinwoon moved like a ghost, dodging every blow and countering with one of his own. He completely controlled the pace of the fight. A final powerful and precise punch knocked Park Yong-ho to the mat. Trembling Park Yong-ho struggled to his feet, panting heavily. All those tattoos, and this is all you've got. Jinwoon cracked his knuckles, his voice dripping with contempt. Weak as a snail and you still want to pick a fight. Stop defiling this arena. Get lost. Suddenly, Park Yong-ho's gaze shifted to the stands. There, Kang In-ha stood with his arms crossed, looking down with a cold, disappointed glare. That look was like a knife. It stabbed his pride. Park Yong-ho let out a forced laugh. Don't worry, I won't lose. He stood up straight, his body seemingly filled with a new surge of energy. All right, he said in a low voice. I admit your boxing is better than mine. From now on, I'm getting serious. He lowered his center of gravity and took a stance. Jinwoon immediately realized those were no longer street fighting moves. That was Muay Thai. Come here, you dog, Park Yong-ho roared. Let me show you what hell is like. Jinwoon was momentarily surprised. But he quickly regained his composure. He thought his opponent would use a kick. With a bold thought, he also rushed forward. I have a sweep kick too, but he was wrong. Jinwoon's kick slammed into Park Yong-ho's shin, making a dry, cracking sound. It felt like kicking a concrete pillar. Jinwoon was horrified. Seizing the opportunity, Park Yong-ho counterattacked. He closed the distance, unleashing a barrage of deadly elbow and knee strikes. Jinwoon hastily jumped back, but Park Yong-ho lunged forward like a tiger. Leaping into the air, unleashing a devastating spinning kick, a signature move of Muay Thai. Jinwoon now realized Park Yong-ho's intention, but it was too late. The kick was too fast, too powerful. He only had time to raise his arm reflexively. Slam, a terrifying force crashed down. Jinwoon felt like he'd been hit by a truck. His whole body flew backward, and he fell sprawling. He tried to get up his arm, trembling uncontrollably. What the hell is this? I clearly blocked it, so why does it still hurt so much? Before Jinwoon could compose himself, Park Yong-ho charged like a mad beast, unleashing a series of kicks aimed at his arm. With each blow that landed, Jinwoon felt like his bones were about to shatter. Jisoo screamed in panic. In the ring, Jinwoon had completely lost the upper hand. He staggered, trying to keep his balance. Park Yong-ho stood opposite him, smirking victoriously. What's wrong? Come at me like you did before. Are you scared now? What Jinwoon gritted his teeth. That bastard. Why are his kicks so abnormally powerful? They're completely different from his punches. Another kick. If this one hits, I'm done for. Now it's my turn. Park Yong-ho roared, swinging his fist as he charged. Jinwoon's mind was now completely obsessed with his opponent's powerful kicks. Completely forgetting to defend against those punches was a fatal mistake. You helplessly raised your hands to block, letting Park Yong-ho seize the opening and rain down blows. Park Yong-ho suddenly lowered his center of gravity, unleashing a brutal leg sweep at Jinwoo's leg. Crack! A piercing, numbing pain shot through Jinwoo, and he collapsed onto one knee. Having completely lost all feeling, he couldn't get up anymore, but Park Yong-ho had no intention of stopping. He raised his leg, aiming straight for Jinwoo's head. A finishing blow was about to be delivered, but just as his heel was about to connect with Jinwoo's temple, a figure rushed out. The referee had intervened. Jinwoo's eyes were shut tight. Ready to accept his fate, he was completely unaware that he had just escaped death's scythe. The referee's knee had blocked the devastating kick in the nick of time. Your opponent has lost the ability to fight. Continuing the attack will result in your disqualification. His voice rang out firm as steel. It was Hyo Gun-hee, the 12th grade class president. Park Yong-ho resentfully pulled his leg back. He stepped down from the ring, clicking his tongue as he looked at the crowd. His gaze landed on Jisoo. I was just getting warmed up, and they already stopped me. Oh well, it's been a while since I had a fun fight like this. So many of them, huh? Even the rats who've been hiding in their holes are daring to show their faces now. His sarcastic smile and words cut into Jisoo's mind like a knife. Jisoo helped the injured Jinwoo to leave. His friend's body was as limp as a rag doll for Jinwoo at that moment. The physical pain was nothing compared to the humiliation of defeat. His failure only fueled the arrogance of the bullies in the arena. At first, he clearly had the upper hand. Jisoo wondered how a single kick could turn the tables so completely. Jinwoo recalled the fight. His kick was much stronger than I thought. An unbelievable amount of power. It felt as hard as steel. When they arrived at Jinwoo's house, Jisoo refused the offer to come in for a drink. He hurriedly said goodbye, then turned and ran off. Jinwoo watched Jisoo's retreating back in confusion, wondering where his friend was rushing off to. The next day, in Kang In-ha's classroom, a few students from another class brought a brand new pair of designer shoes as an initiation gift for joining the group. Kang In-ha accepted them, his voice cold. I value strength more than sincerity, but it's better than nothing. I hope we work well together. Park Yong-ho walked over. It seems Jisoo didn't come to school today. Kang In-ha stood up. So you're here. Why bring him up? Isn't it time we dealt with him? Kang In-ha let out a scheming smirk. I won't be needing your help. The situation has changed. He slowly explained. You taking down Jinwoo was enough to prove our strength. Going after a weakling like Jisoo now would only make us lose face. A guy with slicked back hair chimed in. So, what's the plan now? Hand out flyers to recruit new members. Kang In-ha gave a cunning smile. No, the plan to take over the 10th grade is complete. It's time to move to the next phase. Kang In-ha's next step was a friendly meeting with the 11th grade seniors, starting with the well-known Sun Se-vu. He stared blankly at the uninvited underclassmen. Kang In-ha smiled, his voice sickly sweet. Hello, seniors. We've heard so much about you, so we came looking for you. Huh. What Sun Se-vu sneered. I don't have time for snot-nosed 10th graders. In your eyes, we're just small fry, I understand. Kang In-ha kept his smile. Because you are the legends of the previous generation. Sun Se-vu was a bit surprised, but Kang In-ha's tone suddenly shifted to one of arrogance. Legends who got kicked to the curb by Zhang. And now you're hiding like a bunch of washed-up old men. What did you just say, you punk? Sun Se-vu, furious, grabbed Kang In-ha by the collar. Are you looking for a death wish? Faced with the threat, Kang In-ha remained strangely calm. It's a real pity for you. Back in the day, you had to fight all alone. But things are different now. The situation has changed. Sun Se-vu was stunned into silence. What was the true strategy, the real intention hidden behind Kang In-ha's disgusting smile? Meanwhile, on the windy rooftop, Gun-hee, the referee, was confronting Jiang. This fighting ring is rotting from the inside, he said, his voice filled with worry. If we keep letting them bend the rules, this place will become a graveyard for the weak. This is not a child's game anymore, and above all, he is Kang Han-hee's younger brother. You know what that means. Jiang was silent, letting Gun-hee's words sink in. Then he replied in a cold, almost cruel manner. The rules are the rules. Jiang said nothing more. Just then, his phone vibrated. The screen lit up with the two words, Lee Jisoo. Jiang entered the secret training room, ready to deliver a lecture. I already told you. Do not contact me until you have hit the target. Are you discouraged and want to give up already? But his words caught in his throat. Before Jiang's eyes was an unbelievable sight. Jisoo was sitting beside the punching machine, panting and drenched in sweat. And, on the screen, a bright red number was flashing 9,999, the maximum score. Jiang was stunned. In just a short amount of time, this weak kid had done the impossible. Jisoo looked up, an exhausted but defiant smile on his lips. Now he said, his voice hoarse with fatigue. Tell me what the next lesson is. The memory of Jinwoo's match. It replayed like a haunting slow-motion film in Jisoo's mind. The image of his friend being beaten to a pulp and the triumphant face of Park Yong-ho had become a fire burning in his soul. Right after leaving the arena, Jisoo had rushed like a madman to the training room. Hatred was his fuel, and he had to forge it into a weapon. He had to be faster, stronger. He poured all his resentment and humiliation into every punch. The machine shook violently under his fury. He saw the face of Kang In-ha, of Park Yong-ho appearing on the punching bag. He punched and punched and punched. A guy like him with nothing to his name could only rely on effort. One punch might be weak, but what about 100 punches, 1,000 punches? Jiang's words echoed in his head. Find your own fighting stance. Jisoo realized the problem his foundation had to be solid. He widened his stance just a bit more than Jang's. He lowered his center of gravity, feeling the power transfer up from the ground. He lacked weight and muscle strength, so he had to use everything he had. Then he thought about the punch. How to generate maximum power. He pictured a golf swing gathering momentum, rotating his hips and releasing all his energy into a single point. POWW, the first punch with the new technique. The screen jumped to 3 points. A small number, but it was a glimmer of hope. The neon lights from the entertainment district shone into the training room, creating dancing shadows on the walls. The sound of punches echoed steady and dry. Jisoo had found the formula. 20. His body began to memorize the movement. 134, each punch stronger than the last. 4,428. 5,651. He no longer felt the pain. His knuckles were swollen, his skin torn, blood soaking through his hand wraps. But he did not stop. The physical pain was nothing compared to the pain in his soul. Success always demands a price, and Jisoo was ready to pay with blood and sweat. And then the moment came. POWW, a final punch. Pouring everything he had into it, the screen flickered and the number stopped. 9,999. He had done it. When facing Jang Jisoo's exhaustion finally broke through, but in his eyes was an unquenchable fire. I do not have time to waste, he said, his voice full of determination. Jisoo's insane effort had awakened something in Jang. A rare smile appeared on his lips. Good, we will move on to the next exercise. But prepare yourself, it will be much harsher than hell. As Jang finished speaking, Jisoo's body went limp. He collapsed forward, leaning against Jiang, gasping for air. Jang caught him. He knew that after pushing the body to its limit, recovery was also part of the training process. The real battle had only just begun. The next night at the Hexathlon Arena, the atmosphere was strangely cold. Standing in the middle of the ring, Park Yong-ho scanned the sparse stands, then spoke in a scornful tone. What is this? Is this it? Just a few people, not even half the usual crowd. What have you little rats started to get scared? Suddenly, a deep, powerful voice rang out from behind him. Scared? Who is scared? Looks like it is time to teach you insolent 10th graders a lesson again. Startled, Park Yong-ho turned around. A young man with sharp eyes wearing the disciplinary team's uniform was approaching him. He cursed inwardly, damn it, the disciplinary team. It was Cho Se-won, a second-year student. He stepped into the ring, cracking his knuckles. From the very first time I saw that dragon head on your hand, it has been pissing me off. Is that reason enough for us to have a go at each other? You always start fights for stupid reasons like that, too. Isn't that right? Park Yong-ho was tongue-tied, stuttering about that. In the middle of the ring, referee Hyo Han-hee frowned. The situation is getting out of control. I can't turn a blind eye anymore. A tit for tat, huh? At that very moment, the arena door was thrown open once again. A new noisy and arrogant force flooded in. The leader spoke as soon as he stepped inside. Yo, why is the atmosphere so tense? I heard the arena's been lively lately, so I just came to join the fun. 11th graders bullying 10th graders. How ridiculous is that? How about I do a little dance to ease the tension? Sun Si-woo and his cronies had appeared, all orchestrated by Kang In-ha. Hyo Han-hee immediately stepped out to block them. Hey, Sun Si-woo, what are you doing here, son? Si-woo smirked. I came to the arena to fight. What else? I'm still a 6-subject student. Stop playing dumb, Hyo Han-hee said through gritted teeth. After what happened last time, you still dare to show your face here. Come on, let bygones be bygones. Sun Si-woo shrugged defiantly at class president Hyo. Just then, Kang In-ha stepped out from behind. That's right, senior. Why are you so strict? Hyo Han-hee was stunned to see Kang In-ha with this crew. The audience is dwindling. A few new people should liven things up, don't you think? Right, senior Kang In-ha continued, his eyes showing no fear. Now that he had powerful backing, he no longer respected Hyo Han-hee. What's wrong? Scared now? He added another sentence in a provocative tone. Meanwhile, as the 6-subject arena descended into chaos in another place, Kang was leading Jisoo to a secluded area. What the hell kind of training do you do in a gloomy place like this? Jisoo shuddered, thinking it looked like an abandoned, haunted cemetery. We're here. Kang's voice made the terrified Jisoo jump. Well, what's today's training session? Jisoo asked bewilderedly. Kang crossed his arms, his voice low. Have you ever heard about the history of six subject, huh? What do you mean, sir? In the past, the high schools in Yongdong waged war to fight for supremacy. Six subject was the absolute victor after we unified the region. The other schools were forced to stay within their own territories. What does that have to do with today's training? Jisoo still didn't understand. The place where you're standing is the territory of Jinsan Technical High School. Kang's words hit Jisoo's head like a hammer. The schools aren't at war anymore, but trespassing on each other's territory is still considered a blatant act of provocation. What Jisoo screamed. As he finished, Kang turned and slammed the iron gate shut, the cold sound of the bolt echoing. The back gate is still open. Find a way out on your own. There's no better lesson than real combat, kid. Kang's words struck Jisoo like lightning. He'd only been practicing punches for a few days, and now he had to face an entire gang alone. He panicked and pounded on the gate. Senior, what the hell are you doing? Terrified and outraged, Jisoo gritted his teeth and turned around. Then from the darkness, motorcycle engines roared as the guys from before appeared again. Who dares make a racket in our territory? They got out of the car, and when Jisoo recognized the leader, he smirked and said, well, look who it is. Isn't that the nerd from the six subjects school? The last image of that girl suddenly flashed in Jisoo's mind. He vividly remembered her angry scream before she ran away. We are the 10th grade students from Jinsan School, you bastards. Jisoo swallowed hard. This time he was really done for. Four thugs swaggered over, surrounding him with a tone full of glee and mockery. Well, look who it is. You know the times have changed, right? Running into you here is really amusing. Haha, brave of you to wander into our territory alone. Today, you're definitely going to die, kid. The leader stepped forward, his large hand grabbing Jisoo's head tightly. What's wrong? Scared stiff, you idiot? But what he didn't expect was that Jisoo was not afraid at all. You're mumbling something. Hey, what the hell are you mumbling? Speak up before I smash your face in. Sue couldn't hear him as he was reciting the lesson deeply engraved in his mind after hundreds of hours of practice. 2 fists at his chin, tucked in feet shoulder-width apart, agile steps, a straight punch with his front hand putting all his weight into a hook. After finishing the drill, Jisoo raised his head sharply. A punch was thrown as fast as lightning, grazing the cheek of the leader. It was just a feint, because the real punch, crystallized from a week of hard training, followed right after. It was so fast that the naked eye couldn't keep up. The leader could only widen his eyes in astonishment before receiving a punch that contained all of Jisoo's strength and will. It landed squarely on his jaw. A dry sound echoed as he collapsed like a tree being felled. His underlings stood there, mouths agape and stunned. They couldn't believe their eyes. The weak little kid they used to bully had transformed into a monster in such a short time. Jisoo stood there, his fist still smoking, looking at his achievement with a confident smile on his lips. Good. Finally you understand, right? At the same time, in the six-subject arena, the scene was just as brutal. Sun Ce Vu was gasping for breath. In the grip of Sun Ce Vu, his face bruised. Please, I give up. Let me go, he whimpered. Sun Ce Vu smirked, lifting Sun One with just one hand, showcasing his incredible strength before the cheering underlings below. I knew the arena would be this fun. I should have come earlier. He laughed arrogantly. What a disgrace for the discipline team to be as weak as a snail. Gunhee, the referee of the match, stepped onto the ring, glaring at Sun Ce Vu. At least you should find an opponent of equal level. Go ahead and act all high and mighty, Sun Ce Vu. Let Sun One go and wipe your hands. After all, we have other things to do, and now it's just us left here, right? Gunhee looked around the now empty arena. All the remaining students had left. Due to the chaos and Sun Ce Vu's appearance, they were afraid of getting caught in the crossfire. He thought to himself as his gaze shifted to Kang and Ha. So, Kong and Ha, is this your purpose in bringing Sun Ce Vu here? Vu, right? Kang and Ha flashed a sly smile. Senior, huh? If you wanted to fight so badly, why not schedule it for a nice day in another place? The arena is empty now. We don't need to follow those childish rules anymore, do we? Gunhee clenched his fists, his face turning purple with anger. Sun Ce Vu added fuel to the fire. You hear me, Gunhee? Go tell that guy Jiang that we want a real fight, not this playground. Now, Helgen, Hai gritted his teeth. He had been pushed into a corner. Fighting outside is against the rules, the very rules you and Jang made to protect students returning to school. Jisoo was savoring the feeling of victory. He understood. He now knew how to throw a devastating punch. All he needed was to train until it became instinct. Suddenly, one of the remaining guys roared and charged at him. "You bastard! You dare to start a fight on our turf? You're dead meat." He threw a straight punch at Jisoo's face, but it was useless. His body, now accustomed to Jiang's thunderous blows, felt this punch as nothing more than a tickle. Jisoo didn't even bother to dodge, just staring him down. Punches from small fry like you don't work on me anymore. With that, Jisoo threw a counterpunch. The second guy went flying backward, sprawling on the ground. The last one, seeing his buddies taken down, screamed frantically, "What the hell is this?" He rushed forward, throwing both fists, but when their punches met, the difference in power was overwhelming. Jisoo easily gained the upper hand. The third guy flew even farther than the second. 3 punches, 3 bullies down. The thug Jisoo had just knocked out staggered back up, the metallic taste of blood in his mouth. He stared at Jisoo in disbelief, his mind in chaos. This kid, how is he so different? Last time his punch was as weak as a snail. Now it's like getting a rock thrown in my face. Now only the ringleader's girlfriend remained. She raised a feeble fist, trying to look intimidating. "You bookworm! Do you have any idea what you've just done? You're so dead." Just then, from the shadows, another wolf pack appeared. 9 students from Jinsan High emerged, their fierce eyes surrounding Jisoo. "Huh." A guy from Yukmon High, one of them sneered. "Get him." Jisoo gulped. "I'm screwed." He narrowed his eyes, his brain working at full capacity. "I have no chance in a head-on fight. What should I do?" Seeing that reinforcements had arrived, the girl got cocky. "See this bookworm? Today's your funeral." But instead of panicking, Jisoo acted. He dashed towards the ringleader's motorcycle. He jumped on, turned the key, and revved the engine. The roar of the motor shattered the tense air. If fists weren't enough, he would use steel. Jisoo wasn't sitting on the bike. He stood to one side, twisted the throttle to the max, and shoved the bike straight into the crowd like an iron beast. However, he had underestimated the weight and untamable nature of the machine. The handlebars wobbled, and the bike swerved like a drunkard. The Jinsan students burst out laughing. "Ha ha, look at that! How cute! What an embarrassment, kid." But just as the bike was about to crash, Jisoo suddenly let go. The machine, now out of control, plowed straight into their formation. A chaotic scene erupted with screams and the clang of metal. While they were still reeling in shock, Jisoo spoke, his voice ice cold. "Since when did I give you permission to speak?" That sentence drew their attention, and that was their fatal mistake. Jisoo moved like a lightning bolt, landing a perfect uppercut on the face of the nearest blonde guy, taking advantage of that moment of surprise. He turned and ran for his life. Temporarily safe, he panted as he ran. "If it were one-on-one, I could take them, but not right now. I've never craved the ring, so much a place where it's just 2 people, no dirty gang-ups." His gaze suddenly landed on a row of classrooms. A bold idea flashed in his mind. It's not a ring, but it could work as a substitute. He dashed into the building. A moment later, the Jinsan students also caught up, eagerly heading up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, Jisoo was waiting. "You're here," he said in a low voice. "Come up here one by one if you've got the guts." They burst out laughing. Did this guy run and hit his head on something? "You're trapped, you bastard." They didn't realize they'd walked right into a deadly trap. The narrow space of the stairwell neutralized their numerical advantage. This was a one-on-one fight. The first guy charged aggressively, and all it took was one clean punch from Jisoo. He stumbled backward, causing chaos among the guys behind him. The second and third guys met the same fate. With the advantage of the high ground, Jisoo's punches were incredibly powerful. He cracked a satisfied smile. "All I have to do is take these guys down, and I'm out of here." But life doesn't always go as planned. "Bring it on. I'll take you all." Just as Jisoo was getting fired up, a bowl of instant noodles suddenly fell from above. It smashed right on his head, splashing hot broth and noodles everywhere. Immediately after, a figure swung over the railing from the floor above, launching a devastating kick into his ribs. The surprise kick sent Jisoo tumbling down the stairs, landing right in the middle of the waiting pack of wolves. Above them stood another student from Jinsan. He looked much older, frowning down at the scene. "I was just enjoying my noodles when I had to see the face of some punk from the 6-subject school. Jisoo looked up, seething, and muttered, "Damn it, there's someone up there too." Rage overwhelmed his reason as he charged up the stairs, but the senior was already on his way down. A fast, powerful front kick planted itself squarely in Jisoo's mouth. He went flying backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood. "What the hell? This guy is way stronger than those small fry from earlier." The senior glared at his underlings. "You have 10 minutes. Deal with him and bring him to me." He glanced at his shattered noodle bowl. The irritation was plain on his face. "Make that 5 minutes. Take care of him for me." Having said that, he turned and walked away. He left Jisoo surrounded by a mob, burning with vengeful spirit. Even as he was pinned to the floor, enduring a storm of brutal kicks, Jisoo's gaze never left the guy who had dumped the noodles on his head. He watched his back as he nonchalantly walked away. He gritted his teeth. Damn it, just because their boss showed up, all these little rats suddenly grew a spine. The lackeys struck harder and harder, but Jisoo's fighting spirit wasn't broken. "If I can't win with brute force, then there's only one way. One-on-one." With a burst of power born from desperation, Jisoo broke free of the encirclement. That other student was heading down the stairs. Hearing the commotion, he turned back. He clicked his tongue, muttering with disdain, "Worthless. An entire mob of freshmen can't even handle one little bookworm." But just as the words left his mouth, a figure shot downwards like an arrow. It was Jisoo. Though he was being held back and grabbed, he had channeled all his remaining strength to lunge forward. "I don't need 5 minutes," Jisoo roared. Bam! He used every last ounce of his strength to slam his head straight into the other guy's face. It was a sickening impact. The guy screamed in pain, clutching his face while Jisoo lost his balance and tumbled to the bottom of the stairs. Enraged, the guy shrieked at his lackeys to grab Jisoo. But at the bottom, Jisoo managed a pained yet triumphant grin. He had succeeded. Taking advantage of the chaos, he scrambled to his feet and made a mad dash for the exit. The back gate was right in front of his eyes, only about 100 meters away. Freedom was so close, but then the roar of a motorcycle engine sounded from behind. A bike shot past him and screeched to a halt, blocking the gate completely. A new obstacle. Jisoo froze. The rider had the student he'd just headbutted pinned under his foot. He looked at Jisoo with a wicked grin. "So it's you, the one who's been trashing my underlings. Damn, you're even more of an eyesore up close. Getting trashed by a toothpick like you proves how useless they are. But hey, you're pretty cute. I like the cute ones." He licked his lips in a disgusting way, his eyes locked on Jisoo. This was Hwang Hin-jin, the king of Jinsan High. Jisoo gritted his teeth. Who the hell is this guy? Riding a motorcycle on school grounds and dragging someone behind it. Before he could recover from the shock, the mob from earlier caught up. Jisoo looked back, his heart sinking. I'm screwed. Enemies in front of me, enemies behind me. Where can I run? But then, something unexpected happened. Upon seeing Hwang Hyun-jin, the other students went pale, trembling as they bowed their heads. As Senior Hwang Hyun-jin. Hwang Hyun-jin glanced at their pathetic state. "Looks like this kid really handed your asses to you, huh? Just you wait a minute. I'll make you all look just as pretty as him soon enough." The leader from before panicked and yelled, No, that's not it, Senior. We'll handle him ourselves." But Hwang Hyun-jin wasn't listening anymore. He was like a wild beast. Having found its favorite prey, his eyes lit up with a sick glow. His tongue flickered out again like a venomous snake. "Hey," he growled, "don't you touch my prey." The whole group was dead silent, and the most miserable one right now was Jisoo. Trapped in the middle of a pack of wolves, he vaguely guessed that the person in front of him was the kingpin of this place. But look at him, small and scrawny, with none of the aura of Senior Jang. "Don't be scared," Senior Jang said. "Speed is the key." He reassured himself. Jisoo didn't say a word, clenched his two fists, and rushed straight towards Hwang Hyun-jin. A left hook was thrown with all his might, but Hwang Hyun-jin dodged it with just a slight dip of his head. How cute, he smirked. Daring to attack first, huh? With that said, he suddenly lowered his center of gravity, grabbed both of Jisoo's legs, and charged forward like a bulldozer. Jisoo felt his body being lifted into the air. What is this strength? He was slammed backwards with no way to resist. The fall rattled all his internal organs, causing him excruciating pain. It didn't stop there. Hwang Hyun-jin walked over, grabbed him by the collar, and lifted him up like a rag doll. "Don't collapse just yet." Play with me a little longer. It's getting fun, kiddo. As soon as he finished speaking, he grabbed Jisoo tightly again and executed a perfect suplex, slamming Jisoo's head straight into the hard ground. A horrifying impact. In a daze, Jisoo's last conscious thought was a silent scream. I'm dead. I'm really dead. Look how pathetic he is. That's what you get for messing with our school. A freshman taunted gleefully. The senior quickly snapped, shut up. After he's done with him, it'll be your turn. Jin still hadn't let go of Jisoo's unconscious body. He stuck out his tongue, his eyes gleaming with a perverted look. Passed out already. You should try to struggle a bit more. The game has only just begun. But just as a smug smile spread across his face, Jisoo, with one last phenomenal effort, snapped awake and landed a kick right in his face, even while being held up. He growled, "You're the small one, yet you like calling others cute. Cute my ass, you're the cute one." That word cute was like a spark that ignited Hwang Hyun-jin's mind. He stood frozen stunned, muttering like a madman, "Me cute." The senior standing nearby turned pale. He knew it was all over. That kid is a dead man. He knew the rumors about Hwang Hyun-jin's past, about how he was bullied for being too small. And there was an unwritten rule. In front of Hwang Hyun-jin, you'd rather die than ever say the word cute. The moment Jisoo uttered the words small and cute, the atmosphere instantly grew thick. He could feel the change. This is it, Jisoo thought to himself. The opportunity has come. One punch to take down this kingpin, and then get out of this godforsaken Jinsan school. But his judgment was disastrously wrong. In the blink of an eye, Hwang Hyun-jin closed the distance. He grabbed Jisoo by the collar. The last thing Jisoo saw was the kingpin's eyes, flashing with a strange light and a demonic whisper, "Come here with me." Instantly, Jisoo's world turned upside down as he used his own weight to pull them both crashing to the ground. A suffocating feeling washed over him, his body completely paralyzed. He had fallen into a tight trap, a perfect lock. Hwang Hyun-jin laughed gleefully, raising his two hands to the sky, while his legs clamped around Jisoo's neck like a steel vise. This little tiger cub is truly a masterpiece. The senior, watching from a distance, went pale. He knew that things were only just beginning now. It's the triangle choke, Hwang Hyun-jin's hellish signature move. It was like a python squeezing its prey, neutralizing all resistance, then slowly torturing it to death. And that's exactly what it was. After locking Jisoo down, Hwang Hyun-jin began his torture. He casually rained a series of punches on Jisoo's face, licking his lips as he punched. So, am I still cute now? Cute, isn't it? The pain tore through Jisoo's mind. He felt like he was about to die. This fight was completely different. It wasn't a one-on-one duel, it was an execution. But then, an unbelievable sight unfolded. Amidst the crushing blows, Jisoo, with extraordinary willpower, was slowly getting up, even though his entire body was still trapped in a tight lock. But he was bracing himself, fighting against the boss's weight. "No, I can't fall here." That thought was like a stimulant, igniting the hidden power within him. Hwang Hyun-jin was a little surprised, but he wasn't flustered. Quick as a flash, he spun around, switching from a frontal lock to a chokehold from behind. Everything became 10 times worse. Jisoo panicked. Jang had never taught him this move. The more Jisoo struggled, the tighter Hwang Hyun-jin squeezed. He leaned back, pulling them both down to the ground again. In this position, he could completely control his prey. The number 6 fighter from Jinsan High had lasted 7 seconds before passing out from this move. He wondered how long this kid from the 6-subject school would last. Now Jisoo's consciousness began to fade. He knew if he didn't escape, he would pass out. Hang in there. I can't lose. I won't lose to these bastards ever again. But willpower has its limits. His vision went black and Jisoo passed out. Hwang Hyun-jin laughed gleefully as he felt Jisoo's body go limp. He stood up, grabbed Jisoo by the collar, and began to drag him away, dragging him like a sack of potatoes. The other students breathed a sigh of relief. The upperclassmen urgently signaled them to run, "Hurry, or it'll be too late." But just as Hwang Hyun-jin had dragged Jisoo a few steps, something strange happened. Jisoo's eyes fluttered open. He was only conscious for a split second as a painful memory came rushing back. The 4 knockout games that was the favorite pastime of the bullies at his old school. They used to choke him just like this back then. He was weak and helpless, only able to cry and endure. But it was those very instances of torture that had taught him a lesson in survival, a way to escape the Grim Reaper's clutches. His body stirred slightly, his fingers touching something hard and cold on the ground. A rock. Hwang Hunjin felt something was wrong. He turned around and froze. Jisoo had struggled back up, gritting his teeth, his eyes blazing with hatred. In his hand, the rock was like a primitive weapon. This blow wasn't just about strength, it was the embodiment of all the pain and humiliation he had endured. Hwang Hunjin's eyes widened in surprise. The rock smashed right into his face, shattering into pieces. He fell backward, unconscious. Jisoo didn't waste a second. He turned and ran for his life. All right, I took him down. Just have to get to the back gate, and it's over. The gate was only 10 meters away. 5 meters. 3 meters. But then a chill ran down his spine. Jisoo felt a beast, even more terrifying, charging at him from behind. Hwang Hunjin, with fiery eyes and his tongue lolling out like a wild animal, rushed towards Jisoo. He was a leopard that had locked onto its prey, and nothing could stop him. Jisoo looked back, his heart pounding. What the hell? He took a whole rock to the head, and he can still run. Damn it, just a little further. Just in the nick of time, a figure landed from above, blocking the path between Jisoo and the frenzied beast. Jang stood there as majestic as a guardian deity. His gaze, sharp as a dagger, was fixed on Hwang Hunjin. Stop. His voice wasn't loud, but it was filled with an irresistible authority. Both Jisoo and Hwang Hunjin froze. Only then did Jisoo realize he had unconsciously run past the border of Jinsan High. But Hwang Hunjin didn't waver. He crouched down into the posture of a predator about to pounce. Jiang, I suspected as much. You're the one behind this little brat. Very well. I've been wanting to test my strength against you for a long time. The era of the 6 is over. As Jisoo finished speaking, he lunged forward, but all Jisoo saw was a blur. Jiang's fist shot out like lightning, planting itself straight into Hwang Hunjin's jaw. A dry cracking sound echoed. Hwang Hunjin, the invincible monster, flew backward like a puppet with its strings cut, spitting out a mouthful of blood along with a few broken teeth. He lay motionless. Jang brushed off his hands, his voice cold. The Jinsan gang really doesn't know their place. They need to be taught a lesson. He turned to Jisoo, a rare, satisfied smile appearing on his face. You've passed this test. Only the final one remains. Meet me on the rooftop tomorrow morning. Those words sent a jolt down Jisoo's spine, and an unprecedented confidence surged in his chest. But that final test never happened. The next morning, the atmosphere at the 6th school was strangely quiet. Amidst the silent stream of students, only one person stood out: Jisoo. He walked while throwing punches into the air, each movement sharp and full of energy. He walked straight up to Kang and Ha. After school, Jisoo declared, his voice steely, "Get in the ring. I'll take all of you down." Kang and Ha's entire group was stunned. Jisoo, their prey, the one they treated like a toy, had just officially declared war. The memory of taking down Hwang Hunjin had become the foundation for his ironclad confidence. Park Yong-ho was the first to snap out of it. He let out a scornful laugh. "The little puke wants to get in the ring, huh?" He grabbed Jisoo's wrist. "What's with this hand? Did you hurt it training by yourself? You should learn to defend yourself first, kid." But this time, Jisoo forcefully slapped his hand away. Park Yong-ho was stunned once again. "Answer me," Jisoo roared, his eyes blazing. "This afternoon, do you dare to fight me?" This made Park Yong-ho burst out laughing. "Where did you get all this confidence? This is interesting. You want to get beaten to a pulp in front of the whole school?" He put his hands in his pockets and turned away. "Fine. See you this afternoon. I'll show you what real hell is like in the ring." Jisoo watched his retreating back, fists clenched tightly. "This time, you'll be the one to fall." On the rooftop, Jiang was waiting. He stared into the empty space, a bit impatient. The door was suddenly thrown open, and Junhee ran in flustered. "Jiang, where were you last night?" Sun Savu came to the ring with Kang and Ha. The situation is about to get out of control. In contrast to Junhee's panic, Jang just let out an amused smile. "Sun Se-vu, interesting." What, the ring is about to collapse, and you can still say that. Jang calmly looked down at the schoolyard. If it collapses over a trivial matter like this, then it was only worth throwing away in the first place. Junhee, the ring becomes interesting, not because I use force to suppress it, but the opposite. It's like a river that cleanses itself. When the ring changes on its own through its own internal strength, that's its true meaning. In class 1-3, Park Yong-ho was animatedly telling the story. Yasu challenged me so dramatically. That kid was so aggressive, and his hand was all bandaged up. He must have been training somewhere on his own. This afternoon, I have to teach him a proper lesson, he recounted enthusiastically. But when he looked over at Kang and Ha, he saw his friend was just silent, his gaze distant without any reaction at all. It was as if Kang In Ha's mind was somewhere far away. "Hey, In Ha, what's wrong?" Park Yang-ho asked in surprise, breaking the silence. "I just told such a great story. And you're not even reacting." But Kang In Ha's mind was elsewhere on a much bigger vision. He no longer bothered with a small fry like Jisoo. His target was this entire school. To dethrone the legend named Jang, now was not the time to get involved with that kind of small fry. Kang In Ha frowned and replied coldly, "The most important thing is to take care of Jiang Park." Young-ho laughed, patting his chest confidently. "Don't you worry, this time I'll beat that puking brat until he's crippled. So, he'll never dare raise his head to challenge any of us again. Winning is a given." Kang In Ha cut in his eyes, sharpening. "But it has to be an absolute victory. Blah. We're trying to take over the arena. If we let some nobody provoke us and don't shut him down completely, what will others think of us? Don't let your guard down." An image of a stubborn kid flashed through Kang In Ha's mind, a glutton for punishment with crazed eyes just waiting for a chance at revenge, he warned. "Anyway, he's one tough bastard. You know what to do. Never underestimate the enemy at the school park under the glaring sun." The blonde-haired friend shrieked in horror. "Jisoo, are you insane? Why did you challenge him? You've seen him fight before." Even Jin Woon lost to him. What can you do? But Jisoo didn't seem to hear a thing. He was lost in his own train of thought. "I lost my temper and spoke out of turn back then. Would I even be allowed in the ring when I haven't completed the final test with Senior Jang?" The image of his tall senior and his words came back to him. "Only the final test remains. Meet me on the rooftop tomorrow. Hey, you should cancel the match." Jin Doen's voice pulled him back to reality. "Even if you were trained by Jiang, this match is still too dangerous. Park Yang-ho is a genuine piece of trash. He hangs out with all kinds of scum from off campus. The outcome is already clear. Stay out of it. Wait for me to recover and I'll handle him." But Jisoo shook his head, his gaze strangely determined. "No, you got hurt, protecting me that scene in the hallway this morning, where you were getting picked on. That's my everyday life, being looked down on and made into a laughingstock, like some kind of clown. I don't want to live like that anymore, and my first opponent has to be Park Yang-ho. I don't care how dangerous he is, I'm not afraid with that," said. He jumped to his feet and walked past Jin Woon. A fire of determination blazed in his eyes, an iron will to wash away every humiliation. That night, the hexathlon arena was packed with people. News of the fight had spread like a wildfire. People were whispering about Jisoo's special training, but no one believed he could accomplish anything against a monster like Park Yang-ho. "I haven't seen the arena this packed since I started school," the blonde friend said to Jin Woon in astonishment. Jin Woon just smiled. Jisoo's 2 previous fights were very impressive. Besides, this place is for entertainment. It doesn't matter who's strong or weak. In the ring, Park Yang-ho finished his warm-up and was starting to get impatient. "Where is that punk?" The 2 goons behind him snickered. He probably got scared and ran off. What a coward. Hearing this, Park Yang-ho smirked gleefully. "If he runs, that's even better. We'll have a perfectly good reason to deal with him then." Without even stepping into the ring in the stands, Jiang stood with his arms crossed, his face cold and expressionless. The crowd below started to boo impatiently. Everyone's been fooled. Park Yang-ho shouted, soaking up the attention. "Jisoo is never going to show up. Tell him to get the hell out of this school." Or maybe he really did run away. The blonde friend asked Jin Doen worriedly just as he finished his sentence. A voice echoed from the doorway. Who said, "I was dropping out. I'm just starting to realize how fun school is." Everyone held their breath and turned. Jisoo was standing there in a hooded jacket. He walked in slowly and then pulled down his hood. The entire arena went dead silent. Park Yang-ho's laughter died in his throat. Then he burst out laughing like a maniac, tears and snot flying everywhere. "Look, he even shaved his head to show his resolve. Ha ha ha." Jeering laughter filled the air. But up above, Jiang merely smirked an interesting change. Jisoo stepped onto the stage, calmly took off his jacket, placed it to the side, and looked directly at Park Yang-ho. An ice-cold voice said, "Go ahead and laugh all you want, because from now on, you won't get another chance to laugh." Hearing this, Park Yong-ho sneered Jinwoon was just as confident at first. Right before I beat him to a pulp. Jisoo didn't flinch. He glared back and replied in an ice-cold voice, "We'll see who wins and who loses." The referee's arm rose high and then dropped decisively. The match began. Jisoo clenched his fists, a vow echoing in his mind. The old me is dead. This time I will win, even if it costs me my life. The image of the skinny, terrified student stepping into the ring for the first time had faded into the past. Standing here now was a warrior. With a solid physique and a stylishly short haircut, the moment referee Hyo Gun-hai gave the signal, Jisoo shot forward like an arrow. Park Yong-ho was slightly surprised. He didn't think Jisoo would dare to attack first, but the surprise quickly passed, replaced by a look of contempt. In his eyes, Jisoo's punches were still too simple. He easily dodged the first punch, then smoothly ducked and threw a surprise uppercut. "Ante no." Taking the initiative, huh? Not bad. Park Yong-ho growled as he struck. "But that's not enough to beat me. You'll pay the price for provoking me." He landed a thunderous punch straight into Jisoo's face. He staggered back as a sharp pain shot through his jaw. Before he could recover, Park Yong-ho closed in. "You loser. Let me show you what a real punching bag is." And then a storm of blows rained down. Park Yong-ho's fists landed on Jisoo continuously with unpredictable speed and variation. He could do nothing but raise his arms to take the beating. From the very first seconds, Jisoo was completely overwhelmed. He knew this guy's technique was far beyond anyone he had ever faced, but Jisoo wouldn't allow himself to fall. "I can't lose. I have to try harder." The fire of his will flared up. He planted his feet, roared, and counterattacked, but it was useless. Park Yong-ho was too agile. He moved like a phantom, easily dodging all of Jisoo's punches. He hadn't even needed to use his Muay Thai yet, the weapon that took down Jin Do-in. Seeing Jisoo's hopeless attacks, Park Yong-ho became even more smug. He flashed a mocking smile. "What kind of trick are you playing at? Hit me. Use those fists of yours." And then another punch. This one was much more powerful. Jisoo went flying backwards, sprawling on the ground. The audience below shouted in frustration, "Fight back, Jisoo! What the hell are you doing? Where did all that initial spirit go?" In the crowd, Jinwoon looked at Jiang with worry. Just as I predicted, if he loses, they'll run even more rampant. Contrary to Jinwoon's gloomy expression, Jiang wore a mysterious smile. "You're only seeing the surface. Look closely at the fight. Look into Jisoo's eyes." And indeed, it was true. Despite being beaten to a pulp, the fire in Jisoo's eyes had not died out. It was burning even more fiercely. Seeing that his prey was still stubborn, Park Yong-ho sneered. "You're pretty good at taking a punch." A quality punching bag indeed. But then the smile on his lips suddenly froze. Jisoo had lowered his hands. He wasn't defending anymore. He stood up straight, tensed his body, and stared intently at him. Panting heavily in Jisoo's mind, the fight was only truly beginning now. Flashback to yesterday afternoon on the rooftop. "I'm sorry," Jisoo said breathlessly to Jung, the final training session. "I don't think I can participate." He lowered his head, his voice filled with guilt. "You told me not to get in the ring until the training course was finished. But I broke my promise. I accepted Park Yong-ho's challenge. I couldn't stand what he's done any longer." The images of Park Yong-ho bullying my friends kept replaying in my head. It made his anger boil, but Jiang's words made Jisoo snap his head up. "Then the training plan will have to change a bit." As he finished speaking, Jiang lunged forward like a fierce tiger. Before Jisoo could even understand what was happening, Jiang was already right in front of him, his eyes blazing with a savage fire. "This will be your graduation test. A crash course." Jiang growled each word like a hammer blow. Jiang didn't hold back in the slightest. He rushed at Jisoo like a hurricane, and a surprise punch sent Jisoo flying despite his defensive stance. He flew backward and slammed hard into the wall. A sharp pain shot through his body. Jisoo gritted his teeth bitterly. "What the hell? Is he insane? How am I supposed to block an attack like that?" "Focus." Jiang's voice was as cold as ice. "If you don't want to be beaten to death, then fight for real." Those words were like a splash of cold water to his face. Jisoo struggled to his feet, his anger and fighting spirit igniting. He lunged forward, throwing a barrage of punches. They were fast, very fast, but in Jiang's eyes, they were still just the clumsy movements of a child. He dodged them with ease, but too slow. Jiang roared amidst Jisoo's attacks with these feeble fists. "Who do you think you can defeat, huh?" "I know," Jisoo screamed internally. "I've only been training for a few days. But I have to win. I will win," he screamed, pouring all his strength into one last punch, and it connected. A punch grazed Jiang's cheek. Jisoo was stunned. Jiang licked his lips, a wild grin spreading across his face. "You want to beat me? Fine. Then stop dodging and come straight at me." Right now, in the 6 discipline ring, to the audience, Jisoo looked like a lunatic. He was rushing blindly at Park Yong-ho, throwing aimless punches and completely abandoning his defense. Down in the stands, Jin-do frowned worriedly. What the hell is he doing? Is he making a desperate, reckless move because he's cornered? Charging in like that without any defense, he's just turning himself into a punching bag. Is all that training going to waste? In the ring, Park Yong-ho was surprised at first, but quickly became amused. He dodged Jisoo's punches with ease, as if playing with a small animal. "What's this? You got a death wish. Keep coming at me. But do you really think you can win just by being reckless? You're dead wrong." He threw a vicious uppercut. Bam! Jisoo staggered, but didn't fall. He was unbelievably tough. His body was used to pain far worse than this. Seizing the opening, Park Yong-ho left after throwing the punch. Jisoo lunged forward and tackled him with his entire body. Park Yong-ho was stunned. He tried to push Jisoo off, but Jisoo clung to him like a hungry leech. This one-sided fight is so boring. That guy is just a punching bag. He's about to collapse. As whispers rose from the crowd, Park Yong-ho felt humiliated. He grabbed Jisoo's hair and kneed him in the face. "If you're going to lose, at least do it with some dignity. Your struggle is useless, just die." But through the storm of attacks, Jisoo persisted. This was the plan. This was the lesson. The lesson Jiang had taught him with his own blood and sweat. The memory came rushing back. Jiang had grabbed Jisoo's head, pinning him down. Listen up, whether you grab their body or their neck. Your first objective when you get close is to lock down the opponent's movements. Only then will you have the advantage. A moving target is hard to hit, but a stationary one is a different story. Right now, Jisoo is doing exactly that. He endured the knee strikes and the elbow jabs, but his arms only tightened their grip, turning Park Yong-ho's body into a cage of his own making. The past resurfaced. Jisoo had struggled in vain against Kang's strength. First, make the opponent panic. Kang's voice echoed slow and firm. Don't put all your strength into the first punch. When the opponent loses their composure, that's your chance. And now in the ring, Jisoo is putting that lesson into practice. His charge to grab and hold Park Yong-ho wasn't a reckless act, it was a tactic. Just as predicted, he panicked, pushing him away and revealing a fatal opening. Instantly, Jisoo threw a quick, clean hook, planting it right into Park Yong-ho's side. He understood Kang's meaning. You have to make it impossible for the opponent to predict your next move. After taking the painful blow, Park Yong-ho frantically counterattacked, but at this close range. Every time he landed a hit on Jisoo, he would also take a full blow in return. The match suddenly turned into a test of endurance, a battle to see who could take more punishment. After a round of trading brutal punches, Park Yong-ho gritted his teeth. This brat is more annoying than I thought. That very moment of carelessness was seized by Jisoo. He threw another punch, but this time it was many times more powerful. The crowd below roared with excitement. Jinwoo's jaw dropped, unable to believe his eyes. So he got close to land more accurate hits. Park Yong-ho staggered back in pain, cursing. "You bastard, not bad." Facing him, Jisoo was also panting heavily, sweat pouring down like rain. But seeing his enemy forced into a wary defensive stance, he knew he had succeeded. I can only land a hit when I'm close. Now he's on guard. His calculation complete, Jisoo suddenly lunged forward, throwing a straight punch at Park Yong-ho's face. He dodged it with glee, trying to aim for my face. "Are you? Too easy if you can't get close. How can you hit me?" He laughed, arrogantly. In the stands, Kang stood silently with his arms crossed, recalling his final instructions. The training ends here. When you get in the ring, fight your own way. A real fight always has countless variables. Learning is one thing, fighting is another. Persevere until the end. Don't give up, Jisoo. Jisoo's last punch was just a feint. While Park Yong-ho was gloating, his hand had already slipped behind his neck. Suddenly, Jisoo grabbed his head tightly, perfectly recreating the technique Kang had taught him. Park Yong-ho was completely controlled. Now is my chance if I stick with this strategy. By the time Park Yong-ho realized Jisoo's intention, it was too late. He glanced in terror at the hand gripping the back of his neck. That punch, just now, was just a bait. Jisoo glared at him, his voice as cold as ice echoing amidst the roar of the arena. "You couldn't predict this one, could you, die, you bastard?" With that, he mustered all his strength, landing a thunderous punch on Park Yong-ho's face. A sickening crack echoed. Helpless Park Yong-ho was sent flying backward, sprawling onto the canvas. The entire arena fell silent in an instant. Then it erupted in gasps of astonishment. Everyone stared wide-eyed and open-mouthed, unable to believe the scene that had just unfolded. Jisoo stood there, his fists still clenched, his chest heaving. His fiery gaze fixed on the defeated opponent. Park Yong-ho, in pain, gritted his teeth and muttered, "This little brat? You're good, but I'm just getting started." Jisoo roared, his fighting spirit soaring. "Let's go all out, you piece of trash!" The crowd's astonishment quickly turned into fervent cheers. The entire arena exploded. "Jisoo is the best. You're awesome, Vomit Kid." That was a real sight to see. The chant, "Jisoo, Jisoo," thundered, drowning out all other sounds. Park Yong-ho staggered to his feet, his ears ringing from the cheers for his enemy. His chest burned with rage and resentment. Impossible. Don't celebrate too soon. It was just luck. What's so great about a lucky punch anyway? With that, Park Yong-ho roared like a wounded beast and charged at Jisoo, but this time Jisoo was ready, landing a thunderous uppercut. The lightning from Jisoo struck straight into his jaw, followed immediately by a straight punch that left Park Yong-ho staggering, the world around him spinning, while Jisoo didn't give him a second to breathe. He rushed in, turning his opponent into a living punching bag, throwing hooks and straight punches in a relentless storm of attacks beneath the stands. Jinwoo clenched his fists, his eyes shining brightly. Quite impressive. I never expected he could turn the tables so dramatically. Jang stood beside him with a calm expression, nodding. At this level, physical and mental strength is key. A surprise attack can completely shatter an opponent's composure. Jisoo had seized the initiative, but Jinwoo suddenly realized something strange. For some reason, Park Yong-ho seemed different today. He looked worried. That's right, Park Yong-ho was glancing towards the stands where Kang and Ha stood with his arms crossed. His face was as cold as ice, those eyes. Just like the time he was defeated by Jin-do in Kang. In Ha's words before the match echoed in his head, "You must win, absolutely, do not let your guard down." That thought acted like a stimulant. Park Yong-ho let out a wild roar that made Jisoo freeze in shock. "Enough already. Don't you dare bully me anymore." And then he took the stance of Muay Thai, the martial art that had destroyed Jindu in. Jisoo immediately recognized the danger. There was no time left. He had to end the match right now. So he charged in, deciding to bet everything. But that was exactly the trap Park Yong-ho had set. As Jisoo entered the perfect range, a lightning-fast kick struck him right in the ribs. Thud Jisoo flew backward, the sharp pain nearly making him faint. What is this? This kick. Before he could regain his senses, another kick slammed straight into his stomach. Jisoo doubled over his mouth, only able to emit meaningless screams. The nightmare of Jin was repeating itself. The brutal barrage of kicks rained down on Jisoo's body like a hammer. Park Yong-ho had completely transformed into a beast, roaring in a savage voice. "If you're weak, you should know your place. A little shrimp like you dares to act tough with me." Despite the pain, Jisoo's mind was still working at full capacity. He analyzed each blow. Every kick was heavy. There was a weakness he had to find. Jinwoo's warning suddenly echoed in his mind. Be careful. He had done something with his legs. This was not a normal kick. Jisoo had to find a way to deal with it. Now he understood this feeling. It didn't feel like being kicked. It felt like being hit with a steel rod. On the other side, Park Yong-ho was ready for the finishing blow. That's right. That fearful expression suits you well, you little puke. Now kneel down and beg for mercy. Another kick came rushing in. Jisoo couldn't react in time and was thrown away again. Watching his prey writhing on the mat, Park Yong-ho's eyes ignited with a mad fire. It was an expression Jisoo could never forget, the sick pleasure in the pain of others. Those bastards at the old school had the exact same expression. And that very thing touched Jisoo's final nerve. He forced himself to stand up. A roar erupted from deep within his chest. Just like you, you're just like them. So I absolutely cannot fall here. Seeing Jisoo stand up, Park Yong-ho launched another kick. But this time, instead of flying away, Jisoo did something no one could have expected. He turned around and used his butt to absorb the blow, leaving the entire audience in stunned silence, Jinwoo and the others gaping in astonishment. Only Jisoo could come up with such a bizarre move. He gritted his teeth, enduring a thought flashed in his mind. Just keep attacking. Thanks to the whippings in the past, I already know which spots on this body hurt the least. The experience of a victim of bullying has now become a weapon for him. Park Yong-ho burst into a mocking laugh. Ha! Ha! Are you kidding me? Use your butt to take the hit. You think that silly trick can block me? He charged forward, delivering a powerful kick, but Jisoo, with an incredibly agile movement, turned around and used exactly his own butt to block the blow. A dry thud echoed as the kick was neutralized, and frustration surged within Park Yong-ho as he frantically unleashed a flurry of kicks. But Jisoo, like an eel, weaved and used his unique defensive asset to counter all of them. The audience erupted in laughter. Look at him blocking with his butt. Ha ha, what a sight. New students really know how to entertain. What's that move called? Sue, teach me. Even Jinwoon couldn't hold back his laughter. Wow, this kid knows how to use his brain. It looks funny, but the butt is where most fat and muscle are stored. It might be his only defense right now. After a while of kicking and getting tired, Park Yong-ho began to pant. He realized that low kicks were completely useless and had to aim for his head. He thought to himself, I'll launch a high kick. He growled, let's see how you block this one. But Jisoo just needed to bend down. The kick grazed the top of his head by inches. He could clearly see it. Jisoo thought he had enough time to dodge in the stands. Zindu in your head. He slowed down. Memories of his own match with Park Yong-ho flooded back. That's right. His kick was very strong, but he rarely used his full strength. The greater the power, the higher the price to pay. Back in the ring, Park Yong-ho began to struggle. Each kick he threw was slower than the last, just enough for Jisoo to dodge after Park's missed kick. Yong-ho stopped right in front of Jisoo, distracted by something strange on his leg. Jisoo seized the opportunity and landed a straight punch to his face, knocking him down. Park Yong-ho laughed triumphantly. Stubborn, aren't you? Damn. Hey. But you're out of options now, dog. He lifted his leg, preparing to deliver a finishing kick. No matter how tough you are, you won't withstand this one. Let me show you what happens when you mess with me. But just as the kick was about to connect, a calm voice rang out from below. Yong-ho, your kick is too slow. Yong-ho jumped in surprise. Jisoo's hand was there. Gripping Park Yong-ho's ankle like a steel clamp, the situation reversed in an instant. Park Yong-ho was in a state of panic as Jisoo used immense force to slam him down onto the floor. Damn, what the hell is this? Park Yong-ho screamed in silence as Jisoo stared intently at his ankle, feeling as if he were being struck by an iron rod. The speed was decreasing, and something shiny caught his eye. After a moment of hesitation, Jisoo grabbed the hem of Park Yong-ho's pants and tore it apart. A gasp of astonishment echoed throughout the arena, tightly wrapping around Park Yong's ankle. It was a heavy iron ankle bracelet revealing the dirty trick he had used. So this was how he defeated Jinwoon. Jisoo gritted his teeth as rage surged within him. No wonder you got tired so quickly. Now, do you have anything left to say? That statement was like a spark igniting a powder keg. The entire arena erupted in boos and curses directed at Park Yong-ho. Up high, gun high, watched with a pale face. What should we do now? Stop the match. Jang only smiled with delight. We're about to get to the good part. He glanced down at the ring where Jisoo was unleashing his fury on Park Yong-ho. He punched and punched, but Park Yong-ho wouldn't give in. Jisoo paused. How can this crazy guy still endure? Then he looked into his eyes. It was the gaze of utter fear, absolute helplessness, a look that Jisoo had seen thousands of times in the mirror. That was the old him, but the old him was dead now. Jisoo had seen thousands of times in the mirror. That was her uncle from the past, but her uncle from the past was already dead. Willpower, courage, you have it all. Now it is time to show everyone the rebirth of Lee Jisoo. He raised his fist one last time, all the resentment. The humiliation and suffering he had endured were all compressed into a single point. He let out a roar that tore through the space, not just a roar of anger, but a roar of liberation. Bam! A purifying punch, a punch that shook the entire arena. He fell to the ground unconscious. The match is over. Stop the match. The referee's voice boomed. The winner is Lee Jisoo. In that moment, the entire arena erupted. Jisoo let out a sigh of relief, his two legs trembling. He did it. With his own fists, with perseverance and courage, he had defeated Park Yong-ho. The sweet feeling of victory spread throughout his body. I did it. The chant of Jisoo Jisoo echoed like an epic anthem honoring the new hero of the arena. On the floor, Park Yong-ho lay on his back, his lifeless eyes staring at the ceiling. He was drained of all strength, his mind a complete blank. No way. How could I have lost to a kid like him? He turned his head and saw the back of Kang In-ha walking away coldly. "Hey, In-ha, wait!" he whispered. "It is not over yet. Do not abandon me," Kang In-ha just glanced back his words as sharp as a knife. "You useless trash." Then he turned his back and walked away, leaving Park Yong-ho to drown in humiliation. The audience above, who had just been cheering for him, now unleashed their fury. Cans, garbage, and venomous curses were thrown down without mercy. He just lay there, helplessly taking the abuse, too ashamed to speak. Just then, a shadow blocked the lights. It was Jisoo. He slowly walked over and held out his hand to the astonished Park Yong-ho. "Get up," Jisoo said calmly. "You fought dirty and still lost. I should beat you to a pulp, but rules are rules. Next time, we will settle this fairly." Park Yong-ho was stunned. He had treated Jisoo like garbage, and yet now he was offering him a way out, a respectful promise of a rematch. The referee, Hyo Han-hee, chuckled with interest. "Well now, this new student is more interesting than I thought." A handshake. Up above, Jiang also broke into a proud smile. Now that is what a student of the 6 subjects should be. Perhaps he can do even more than I thought. But just as Jisoo was about to pull Park Yong-ho up, an arrogant and contemptuous voice cut through the air. "Has the 6 subjects school really fallen this low? A childish fight like this. And people are actually watching." The entire stadium suddenly fell silent. A stranger stepped out from the shadows, grabbed Park Yong-ho by the hair, and yanked his head back. "You can't even beat a little punk. And you dare to call yourself a representative of the 6 subjects. How are you going to face the upperclassmen now, huh?" It was Sun Se-vu. He had been there watching it all from the beginning. Who is this guy, Jisoo wondered. Just then, Jiang was on the stage, his presence overwhelming. "Sun Se-vu, what do you think you are doing?" Sun Se-vu let go of Park Yong-ho and turned to face Jiang, his smile twisted with hatred. "Long time no see you, traitor Jiang. Look at this garbage arena of yours. I can't stand it anymore. From now on, I will be the one who rules the 6 subjects." Jiang just scoffed. "I thought you were hiding in some godforsaken corner. This is interesting. Fine by me. Let me show you what a real fight is." With that, Jiang raised his hands into a fighting stance. The most anticipated battle, the fight to decide the true king, was about to begin. They both took off their jackets, revealing bodies covered in battle scars. Their eyes locked, their killing intent palpable. "I can't believe I am seeing this." Before graduation, someone in the stands exclaimed. Jisoo turned to Jinwoon and asked in confusion, "Jinwoon, who is Sun Se-vu?" Before the arena existed, Jinwoon replied in a serious tone. He was the one who competed with Senior Jiang for the title of the strongest in the 6 subjects. What Jisoo was horrified. He competed with Jiang. On the stage, Sun Se-vu began to warm up his muscles, rippling like a monster's. "You must have struggled so hard to climb to that position, just to create this piece of trash." He roared and charged forward like a mad bear. Boom! An earth-shattering sound echoed. The stage shook violently, and the terrified audience nearby recoiled. What is this terrifying power? The stage is about to collapse. But in the epicenter of that explosion, Jiang still stood firm, nimbly dodging the devastating attack. The eyes of the two beasts met once again, promising a fight to the death with no quarter given. Right after, Sun Se-vu flashed a sinister smile, turning into a fighting machine. He unleashed a storm of kicks and punches aimed straight at Jiang, but Jiang maintained the demeanor of a master. Moving like a graceful phantom, he dodged every single attack. Sun Se-vu's speed was terrifying. Each punch and kick carried destructive power. Standing below Jisoo was stunned, muttering like an amateur commentator, "No way. With that massive body, how can he move so nimbly?" Now Jinwoon, standing beside him, spoke with a worried voice. "Senior Jiang is incredible for dodging everything, but what if he loses? What will happen?" Jisoo turned to Jinwoon, his gaze shifting back to the ring. His voice lowered. The arena will disappear. The Six Sects will return to an era of chaos. Sun Se-vu is the embodiment of Kang Han-hee. The name Kang Han-hee left Jisoo stunned. Sun Se-vu had completely transformed into a beast after a series of missed attacks. His eyes blazed with a destructive fire. You brat who only knows how to dodge, forget your past victories. The me of today is completely different. He roared, charging like a bulldozer, unleashing his unparalleled technique, the Phantom Fist Kick. A series of illusory attacks aimed straight at Jang. Jang leaned back to dodge, but his opponent's speed was too great. A splash of blood flew out. Jiang had been hit. Sun Se-vu roared in delight. He had finally landed a hit on his opponent. The excitement pushed him to his limit. He charged in madly, raining a torrent of blows down on Jiang. Jiang struggled to defend himself. Sun Se-vu's punches were as heavy as sledgehammers. Blood started to trickle from the corner of his mouth, and then a direct punch to the stomach sent Jiang flying towards the ring ropes, trying to act like a boss. But this is all you've got, Sun Se-vu yelled. If I had known, I would have finished you off long ago. Below, Jisoo screamed in panic. It can't be. How? How can Senior Jiang be defeated by this monster? Yinwun's face also turned pale. Sun Se-vu is stronger while Jiang has better technique, but right now Sun Se-vu is completely overwhelming him. Could it be that he's been training in secret on the stage? Jiang collapsed. Sun Se-vu stood there looking down at his motionless opponent, a smug smile on his lips. My body is different now. The thing they gave me is truly effective. An image of 5 shadowy figures flashed through his mind. Sun Se-vu raised his leg. Now you're nothing more than me. Die, you traitor. But at that very moment, Jiang's eyes suddenly changed. Sun Se-vu's kick came down. A terrifying sound rang out. The crowd gasped. They were not shocked because Jiang was defeated. They were shocked because Jiang not only wasn't defeated, but had thrown a counterpunch. A punch with all his strength planted right in Sun Se-vu's face. Bam! Sun Se-vu was thrown back like a puppet with its strings cut, flying straight towards the opposite ropes. Before he could even get up, Jiang lunged forward like a flash of lightning. This has taken too long. Let's end this. Jiang unleashed a flurry of blows, showing the true class of the ruler of the Six Sects. That terrifying power made Sun Se-vu unable to believe his eyes. He had never seen a Jiang like this before. Jiang's eyes blazed with fire as he threw another punch into Sun Se-vu's stomach. A punch from the Lord of the Jungle proving his position was not earned by luck. Sun Se-vu doubled over in pain, and then the final punch was thrown. The finishing blow sent Sun Se-vu flying out of the ring, free-falling to the ground in utter astonishment. The students of the Six Art School were in absolute shock. For the first time, Jisoo witnessed with his own eyes the legendary power of Jiang. The cheater had been punished by the one who creates the rules. Jiang stood on the ring, looking down at the crowd. His voice rang out sharp as steel. Park Yong-ho, get up here. Park Yong-ho's face went pale as he trembled. He stepped onto the ring and knelt before the president. An iron rod had appeared in Jiang's hand at some point. Park Yong-ho looked at the rod and swallowed hard. Is he going to hit me with that? How could I survive being beaten by a monster like him? I've already been beaten to a pulp. And now another beating. Park Yong-ho, who had just been as arrogant as a king, was now just a pathetic mess. He crawled on the floor, tears and snot streaming down his face, trying to hug Jiang's leg. Senior, please spare me. I was forced. I'm just a victim too. I swear I'll never do it again. Jiang just looked down coldly. Lie down. His voice, devoid of any emotion, was more terrifying than any threat. Park Yong-ho trembled uncontrollably. But the fear of death overcame the humiliation. He continued to beg, his cowardly words pouring out endlessly. Jiang suddenly knelt down face to face with Park Yong-ho. His eyes blazed with a terrifying fire. I said, lie down now. All of Park Yong-ho's hope vanished. He knew he was done for. Crying and trembling, he lay face down on the floor, awaiting his punishment. Jiang raised the iron rod high, swinging it back to gain momentum. If you don't want to get hit, he said, his voice sharp, then never do things that make you end up lying here. Park Yong-ho squeezed his eyes shut and bit his lip, but the blow he was waiting for never came. The rod stopped the moment it lightly touched his butt, but the pressure, the invisible force from it, was enough to scare the soul out of him. A warm, pale yellow stream flowed from his pant leg, forming a small puddle on the floor. The entire arena erupted once again. But this time, it was with jeering laughter. The legendary name Piss Pants was born. Jang stood up looking down at the trembling man at his feet. Have you no shame for this arena? I'll let you go this time. There won't be a second time. He turned to face everyone. He stomped his foot hard on the floor and using all his inner energy, let out a roar that shook the entire space. Listen up everyone today. You have seen that the arena is a place to fight with true strength. A fair fight with no room for cheating. Anyone who starts a fight outside this place, that person has violated the rules of the 6 arts, and as long as I am here, that person will not survive. Remember, this is a place for true warriors, those who deserve respect. I, Jiang, am the ruler of this place. Jiang's powerful declaration was met with thunderous cheers. Order had been restored. The next day on the rooftop, a steady thumping sound could be heard. Jiang was landing powerful punches on a punching bag. Jisoo walked out stunned. After everything that happened yesterday, he's still training. What are you doing here? Jiang's voice cut through Jisoo's thoughts. I have nothing left to teach you. If you came to ask for training, then go home. No, that's not it, sir. Jisoo summoned all his courage. I have something to ask. Why have you helped me so much? You're the first person I've ever mentored. Jiang stopped. He turned and walked closer to Jisoo. Through you, he wanted to show everyone that with constant effort, anyone can rise to the top. You've worked hard, Jisoo. He placed a hand on Jisoo's shoulder. A rare affectionate gaze looked straight at him. Jisoo could feel it. The trust, the expectation. He bowed his head. A most sincere thank you erupted from deep within his chest. Although he didn't fully understand the deeper meaning of Jiang's words, he knew this man was the teacher who had changed his life. Back at the arena, the atmosphere was completely different. The fervent excitement had returned, but there was no more chaos or bullying. The matches were fierce but fair. The true flame of battle was reignited, burning more fiercely than ever and spreading throughout the school of the 6 disciplines. The 6 disciplines arena had become a part of his life. For Jisoo, new battles broke out every day, and he was no longer a bystander. He stepped into the ring, not with fear, but with a blazing fire of determination. Every punch he threw contained not only strength, but also the sweat and effort from his long days of arduous training. He fought without mercy, seizing every opportunity. Exploiting every opponent's weakness, victory once again called his name. The audience roared wildly. Ever since the historic battle with Park Yong-ho, Jisoo had become a symbol of faith. Every one of his matches drew a cheering crowd. At this moment, there was no doubt that Lee Jisoo truly belonged to the 6 disciplines arena. Meanwhile, at a high-security prison near the city center, Kang In-ha sat waiting. On the other side of the glass, a figure appeared. Long time no see, his older brother said in a calm voice. Brother Kang. In-ha shot to his feet. You said you'd bring good news next time. That bastard Jiang. Even senior Sun Se-vu couldn't take him down. The older brother just chuckled, an unreadable smile on his face. That little brat Jiang, you say. It seems things have gone a bit too far this time. The master is away, and the little mice get to run wild, huh? Seeing his brother's smile and hearing his indifferent tone, Kang In-ha lost his cool. Don't worry, brother. I'll find a way. If it can't be done inside the school, I'll use outside methods. Kang In-ha, the older brother, interrupted in a low voice. Once you're bound by chains, it's very hard to escape. Don't do anything foolish. Just act according to your station. Dad has already stepped in. I'll be out in just a few more months. Hearing this, the weight in Kang In-ha's heart seemed to lift. Don't do anything to affect the family. His older brother continued, just stay quiet, observe, and wait for the right time when I get out. Everything will be taken care of. I understand. Kang In-ha replied, but the hand clenched into a fist under the table betrayed the boiling defiance within. Back to school life. Jisoo Jinwoon and their blonde friend were gathered together. The blonde friend, with an unprecedentedly serious expression, was talking about a momentous event. His crush had invited him to hang out with her group of friends. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he solemnly declared, and I need you two to come with me, so I'm not the odd one out. Jisoo was bewildered. Meet girls, I've never done that before. What Jinwoon, however, raised his hand. Sorry, I have plans that day. The blonde friend, on the verge of tears, shoved his phone screen in front of them both. Look! Jihai asked me out herself. This definitely means something. You guys have to help me, or maybe you're just being delusional. Jisoo blurted out. After a bit of arguing and tempted by the blonde friend's promise to treat them to a grand meal, Jin-woon finally gave in. On the day of the date at a luxurious cafe, the blonde friend looked like he was about to die. "Damn it, why am I so nervous?" he muttered, downing his third glass of water. "Calm down, you're about to drink the entire menu." Jin-woon teased with a laugh. Jisoo thought to himself, it's the first time I've ever seen him this flustered. I wonder who she is to be so formidable. Suddenly, the cafe door opened and a beautiful girl with shiny blonde hair walked in. Jisoo held his breath. Could it be her? He glanced over to see his friend waving. But wait, it wasn't for the blonde girl, but for her friend, with the healthy tan skin walking behind her. And it wasn't just two of them, it was all three girls. The blonde guy's crush was the tan-skinned girl in the middle. "We're late, sorry about that." "It's okay, we're just glad you came." "Everyone, let me introduce you. This is Jisoo and Jin-woon, my best friends." Jisoo, finally snapping out of his daze, awkwardly took a sip of his drink, thinking she seemed pretty enthusiastic and cheerful. Just then, the beautiful blonde girl from earlier walked up to Jisoo smiling brightly. "Hi, I'm Jiang Mai. It's nice to meet you." In that moment, Jisoo felt his decision to come with his friend was completely the right one. His face flushed bright red. The initially awkward meeting quickly opened up, filled with the lively sound of laughter and friendly questions. The blonde friend was over the moon, his eyes crinkling with a huge smile as his crush showered him with attention. The date seemed to be going perfectly until Jin-woon suddenly turned and made a teasing remark. It left the blonde friend frozen and speechless. Amidst the lively chatter, Jisoo felt like he was invisible, unable to find a way into their conversation. Just then, Jiang Mai, the girl with the radiant smile, unexpectedly looked his way. Hey, Jisoo," she called out, her voice crystal clear. "Are you not much of a talker?" She made a heart-stoppingly cute face. Startled Jisoo's face went bright red as he quickly waved his hands. No, that's not it," he stammered while screaming internally. "Oh my God." "She started the conversation with me first," Jiang Mai winked playfully. "Honestly, I'm not a big fan of all the noise either, but everyone is so excited I can't really get a word in." She sighed softly. "Whenever it's a big group gathering like this, I usually find it hard to blend in." "Oh, me too," Jisoo blurted out. "Everyone is just having such a great time talking." "So, you're the type to just sit back and listen, huh?" Jiang Mai giggled. "I get a little shy too." As if they had just tuned into the same frequency, Jisoo nodded eagerly. Jiang Mai's smile right then seemed brighter than the sun to him. His heart felt like it was going to burst out of his chest. "We really are alike, aren't we?" she said cheerfully. "I'm so happy I met you." Me too." Just then, an excited Jin-woon suggested, "Let's go to karaoke, everyone. There's a really great place nearby." The suggestion was met with immediate enthusiastic agreement from everyone except Jisoo, whose face completely crumpled. This would be the nth time he'd been dragged along to be tortured by music. In front of the karaoke club, the blonde guy's crush turned to Jin-woon and asked, "Are you any good at singing?" Another one of the girls chimed in, "Come on now. The only way to find out is for you to go in and show us." All eyes were on Jin-woon. The blonde friend felt completely sidelined. This was supposed to be his date, but Jin-woon was stealing the show. Unable to stand it any longer, he pulled Jin-woon back by the shoulder. "Hey, you guys go on in first. We'll be right there." "I already used the restroom. I don't need to go again," Jin-woon replied naively, causing the blonde friend to grit his teeth. "Hey, what's your problem? You've completely stolen my spotlight today." "She asked me a question, so I just answered it. But you keep butting in. I haven't had a single chance to impress her." "No, I was just trying to help you out." "But I want her to talk to me." "All right, fine. Once we're inside, the stage is all yours." This is so infuriating. At this rate, we're going to have to settle this in the arena. Listening to the two of them bicker was giving Jisoo a headache. "Just stop it, you two, and get inside," he yelled. "Everyone's waiting." With that, Jisoo squeezed past them and went in, leaving his two comrades to their war of words outside the door. There's no shame in avoiding a fight, he thought to himself. He glanced at them and smiled. But this is good too, saying things directly instead of bottling them up. I can't do that. But the image of Jiang Mai appeared in his mind. Her soft hair, shy smile, and clear eyes had completely stolen his heart. "I want to get closer to her. But how do I do that now? Even her name sounds beautiful to me. Oh my god, what the heck am I thinking? While Jisoo was lost in his rambling thoughts, he was suddenly startled by a scream up ahead. A tattooed young man was blocking Jiang Mi and her two friends. Hey girls, don't be so stuck up. If you're out alone, then come hang out with us. I've got 2 more buddies in the room, enough for 3 pairs of us. Hey, what are you doing to my friend? Jisoo suddenly spoke up, his voice full of resentment. The tattooed man and the 3 girls were all startled and turned around. He looked Jisoo up and down, then sneered, your friend. Hey, there's nothing special about this punk. Why would you hang out with a guy like this? Come on, come with me. My friends are all top-tier guys. His hand tightened around Jiang Mi's wrist. The more she struggled, the more he pushed. Seeing his crush being bullied, Jisoo's blood boiled. He lunged forward, but before he could make a move, Jiang Mi had already acted. She suddenly lowered her center of gravity, planting 1 foot firmly before the tattooed man's astonished eyes. She used a skillful takedown technique, lifting him into the air and then slamming him hard onto the ground. Slam! The young man lay sprawled out, unable to comprehend what had just happened. He only managed to see Jiang Mi's blazing eyes and hear her cold voice. If you won't listen to reason, then I'll have to use my fists. Jisoo was stunned. His jaw dropped, and his eyes went wide as he stared at the unbelievable scene before him. Ji-hee, the girl with the tan skin, just put a hand to her forehead and sighed. This is so exhausting. He was just asking for it. What's happening? Jisoo stammered, his face turning pale. Oh, it's you, Jisoo. Ji-hee turned back, trying to reassure him. Don't be too surprised. Okay, Jiang Mi may seem that way, but she's actually very gentle. Gentle Jisoo wasn't so sure about that. On the other side, the tattooed man was frantically throwing punches, trying to regain his dignity, but they were all just hitting empty air. Jiang Mi moved lightly like a dancer. She dodged every attack with ease. Every one of her movements was decisive, without a single wasted motion. It was clear she had been trained since she was young by an incredibly skilled master. The outcome was already decided. Jiang Mi finished the fight with a perfect hook kick to the jaw. The tattooed man flew backward and collapsed onto the floor. Then it seemed Ji-hee blurted something out. I think Jiang Mi goes to your 6-subject school too. Jisoo was stunned. She goes to my school. That's right. Her older brother's name is quite similar. It sounds pretty unique. A bolt of lightning shot through Jisoo's mind. The surname Jiang was all too familiar. When he uttered that name, Ji-hyun immediately confirmed it. So it turns out this unbelievably strong girl was Jiang Mi, a 17-year-old freshman at Jinhuang High, and the little sister of the student council, President Jiang. I told you to let go. Why won't you, huh? The 2 remaining guys surrounded Jiang Mi, their faces menacing. You're dead meat today. The blonde-haired guy swung his fist, intending to teach her a lesson, but before his punch could even fly, another fist shot forward like a bullet, slamming right into his face. Crack! A dry sound echoed as he went flying backward, his mouth agape in astonishment. To the utter amazement of his accomplice, and even Jiang Mi, the one who threw the punch was none other than Jisoo. A classic hero saves the damsel moment that couldn't have been more legit. Jiang Mi was stunned. The power in this new acquaintance's punch was truly terrifying, but the most astonished person was Ji-hee. She covered her mouth, unable to believe her eyes. Jisoo grabbed the blonde guy by the collar and roared, you scumbags, you call yourselves men picking on a girl, huh? I can't believe he would act like that. Ji-hee whispered to Jiang Mi that students from the 6 discipline school are truly different. After scaring the thugs senseless, Jisoo hurried back to check on Han Jiang Mi to see if she was okay. He let out a sigh of relief as the thugs scrambled up and fled out of sight at that exact moment. Jinwoon and his blonde friend came rushing over. Why are you just getting here? Ji-hyo snapped. Some punks were trying to mess with us. Luckily, we had Jisoo in a dark alley. 3 thugs were nursing their bruises. Those bastards were from the 6 disciplines. That's right, they're really strong, but the stronger they are, the more our boss will like it. This time they'll pay. The whole group strolled down a busy street. Ji-hyun now seemed closer to Jinwoon, which made the blonde friend sulk as he walked behind. The air between Jisoo and Jiang Mi became more relaxed. Your punch from earlier was really powerful. Jiang Mi praised him with sparkling eyes, complimented by his crush. Jisoo's heart felt like it would leap from his chest. He blushed shyly. Jiang Mi's smile under the streetlight was just too radiant. Today is truly a wonderful day. I never thought Senior Jiang had such an adorable little sister. You must train really hard, huh? Jiangmi asked you to. Jisoo replied, my brother just forced me to learn martial arts for self-defense. He always worries too much, but thanks to that, you were able to handle those thugs. I've also learned a lot from your brother. You're my brother's disciple too. That's right. I ran into some trouble after transferring, but luckily my senior was there to guide me upon hearing this. Jiang Mi suddenly gasped, her two eyes wide open. So you're that transfer student. I never expected to meet you here. Jisoo was flustered. So did your brother tell you about me? Oh no. He suddenly recalled Jiang's final words before they parted. I want to show my little sister that anyone can become strong as long as they never stop trying. So I was part of his plan from the very beginning. So back then, did Senior say that on purpose for Jiang Mi to hear? A panicked thought ran down Jisoo's spine. Damn it. He told her everything. She knows about all my pathetic failures and my weakest moments. Oh no. Oh no. A sense of shame and humiliation washed over him. He feared the good image he had just started to build. In Jiang Mi's eyes had been shattered. But then Jiang Mi smiled and held out her phone when I heard what Brother Jiang said. I honestly didn't think that person was you. For us to meet like this, isn't it something of a miracle? Let's keep in touch from now on, okay? That offer sent an electric shock through Jisoo. His face flushed, and he was speechless. His brain seemed to shut down for 5 seconds. That moment was just too wonderful. He took the phone with trembling hands, unable to hide the dazed expression on his face. This is definitely the luckiest day of my life at an abandoned construction site. Under a dim light, a brutal scene was unfolding as a group of youths surrounded and beat a man relentlessly. Stop, spare me. The man groaned through the fabric covering his head. The blonde leader snarled, his tone full of irritation. I already told you. If you want to live, cough up the money. I really don't have any money, but I promise I'll pay you back. The blonde guy yanked the bag off his head. So you're willing to do anything, huh? Fine then. You used to be a track and field athlete, right? Let's see you run. Despite the victim's pleas, the blonde guy's gaze remained unmoved. Debts must be paid, principal and interest. Just then, his 3 underlings, the ones Jisoo and Jiang Mi had taught a lesson to at the karaoke bar, returned. Boss, a girl and a group from 6 Gates picked a fight with our Bake Sun gang. She deserves to be punished. Before he could finish, the blonde guy clamped the underling's mouth shut with 2 fingers. A deafening slap echoed. You couldn't even handle one girl. No, that's not it, sir. The underling stammered. You bastard. The blonde guy furiously stomped on him. You're a disgrace to the entire gang. You're reporting this nonsense to me? Another one quickly explained. Boss, that girl is no pushover. She also brought a whole crew from 6 Gates School. Hearing the 2 words 6 Gates, the blonde guy froze. His expression changed, and a sinister, intrigued smile spread across his lips. S6 Gates, you say? Now this is getting interesting. The next day at school, the blonde-haired friend was complaining to Jindo-in. It's all your fault. Ji-hyun hasn't texted me back since that day. No excuses, you're coming with me to the arena today. While the 2 friends were bickering, Jisoo, sitting beside them, paid no mind. He was completely absorbed in texting Jiang Mi. Every message, every cute icon she sent made his heart pound. How could someone be so adorable? Passing by Kang In-ha's classroom, Jisoo witnessed an unbelievable sight. Park Yong-ho, the guy who once ran rampant, was now on his knees begging Kang In-ha. You've bothered us long enough. Kang In-ha looked down coldly. Get lost. That's the only way you can help us. Despite Park Yong-ha's pleading, all he received in return was a glob of spit from Kang In-ha. He spat on his head in contempt. There's no place for cowards here. If I were you, I would have just died already. Jisoo was stunned. He couldn't understand how Kang In-ha could be so cruel. Come on, don't get involved with him. Jinwoon stepped forward and put a hand on Jisoo's shoulder. Why does Park Yong-ho have to cling to him like that? Jisoo wondered. They're just school bullies. It's peaceful enough in here, but out in society, it's a completely different story. Different how? There's a company in this area called Gang Un. Jindo-in lowered his voice. It's called a company, but in reality, it's a massive, notorious criminal organization. They're even powerful enough to control the police, and Kang In-ha is the second son of the Gang Un syndicate's boss. Kang In-ha, Jisoo said in surprise. The blonde friend laughed. That's right. His family background is no joke. All the thugs in this area line up just to be his lackeys. So that's how it is. This place just gets more and more terrifying, Jisoo muttered. Meanwhile, on a deserted street, as night fell, Jang Mi was walking and scrolling through her phone sighing. I got off work so late today I need to hurry home or my brother will worry. Suddenly, a message popped up on her screen. After reading it, she smiled to herself. All of a sudden, frantic footsteps and a panicked voice rang out from behind her. "Miss, please help me." A strange girl with a terrified look on her face rushed up and grabbed onto Jang Mi. "Some strange men are chasing me," she stammered, trembling. Jang Mi quickly tried to reassure her. "It's okay, calm down. I'll call the police." "No, don't." The girl quickly stopped her. "They'll catch us if we go out to the main street. Let's go into that alley over there." Before Jang Mi had a chance to think, the thugs appeared blocking the entrance to the alley. Their leader slicked back his greasy hair and flashed a perverse smile. "Trying to run our wee niece. And you even brought a cute friend with you." Furious, Jang Mi yelled at the bastards. "Stop right now or I'll call the police." The other guy sneered. "Oh really? Are you sure you want to do that?" While Jiang Mi was confronting them, the strange girl behind her quietly pulled out a taser. Zap! She jabbed it right into Jiang Mi's back, a powerful current running through her body and paralyzing her. Powerlessly, she collapsed to her knees. "What an idiot!" The girl sneered contemptuously. "So easy to trick." "All you pretty girls are equally stupid." Jiang Mi gritted her teeth, her anger overpowering the pain. Though she tried to struggle, she had no strength left. "Why, you're one of them." Just then, the real mastermind appeared. He stepped out of the shadows with his hands in his pockets and a sly smile. "A pleasure to meet you. I heard you're quite the fighter, aren't you? How about coming for a little trip with me?" That was the boss of the White Mountain Gang. Luckily, Jisoo showed up just in time. Seeing Jisoo and Jiang Mi take a defensive stance, the boss looked amused. "I didn't want to make a scene, but it seems things have turned out this way. You think not having a taser changes anything?" As soon as he finished speaking, a shadow flew straight at his face. Wham! It was Gisoo's fist. He didn't waste words, using his actions to prove the strength of a six-subject student, immediately following up with another more powerful punch. "All right, get ready," Gisoo growled. "I'll show you the consequences of crossing the line." He attacked relentlessly, turning the boss's face into a punching bag. At the same time, the other woman smirked at Jiang Mi. "You're pretty tough, but it's better if you stay down. Nothing good will come from getting up. I'll take you down even with my bare hands." She got into a fighting stance, but Jiang Mi wasn't scared at all. On the contrary, she seemed excited. She cracked her knuckles with a crack and held her head high. Lying down was pretty comfortable, you know. "But I hate being helpless. Attack." "Stay still, you filthy bitch. I'll make you submit," the woman roared, lunging at Jiang Mi. Back with Jisoo after a flurry of blows. The boss of the White Mountain Gang was knocked backwards. Jisoo stood over him, cracking his knuckles, his voice full of contempt. "So you're nothing special, you scumbag." But then the unthinkable happened. "I've been waiting for this." The boss shot back up, his voice changed. "The warm-up is over. The game truly begins now." He covered his mouth, quickly popping some kind of pill and swallowing it. Instantly, he charged at Jisoo with terrifying speed. A series of powerful punches flew out. "What the?" Jisoo was shocked. "What? How can he still move?" His endurance is monstrous. While he was still stunned, a punch buried itself in Jisoo's stomach. The sharp pain made him double over. The boss laughed triumphantly. "I'm done testing you. You won't be able to touch me now, you bastard." With that, he put all his strength into his knee and launched a vicious strike right at Jisoo's face, sending him sprawling. His body was battered, every fiber of his being screaming in pain. This power was nothing to mess with. What kind of monster is this guy? The leader of the White Mountain Gang, Ji-Ho, gave Jisoo no time to breathe. He charged in like a wild beast, raining down punches. "What's wrong? Did getting your ass kicked wake you up?" he growled. Where's all that arrogance for a six-subject punk now? But he had made one mistake. He didn't know that for Jisoo, pain was fuel. The flame of his will, which had seemed to be extinguished, suddenly roared back to life. The image of Ji-Ho's sneer awakened the monster inside Jisoo. "No, I will not fall here." Tensing his body, he channeled all his strength into his legs, stomped hard on the ground, and shot back up. Ji-Ho was a little surprised. He was facing a wall, someone known as the King of Endurance. And that wall was fighting back. Jisoo slipped his arm behind Ji-ho, trying to wrestle him down, but Ji-ho's strength was overwhelming. The two grappled, neither willing to yield. As his stamina waned, Jisoo decided to use his final move. He roared and slammed his head straight into Ji-ho's face, a renowned iron headbutt. Both of them staggered, blood gushing from Ji-ho's nose, while Jisoo's own forehead throbbed in pain. But now they were on equal footing. The two charged at each other, trading frantic blows with no defense. Only offense. Ji-ho had never met such a reckless opponent. Finally, Jisoo found an opening. He threw an uppercut that landed squarely on Ji-ho's chin. He was stunned. Jisoo didn't miss the chance, roaring with a voice full of pride and resentment. This is the skill of a 6-subject student. You were curious, weren't you? Watch closely. This is the fist of a 10th grader. He unleashed a final punch, pouring in all his effort, all his will, a punch with the power of 9,999. Ji-ho flew backwards, crashing to the ground, unconscious. Jisoo breathed a sigh of relief, staggering forward. You shouldn't challenge a person's foundation. He suddenly recalled something from just before they charged in. Ji-ho seemed to have eaten something, but something else was more important. Jiangmi. He spun around in a panic and froze. Jiangmi had finished her fight long ago. She was standing there looking majestic. One foot was planted on the other woman's face as she clapped in applause. A beautiful victory. You finished up early, but it looks like you could have handled them all alone. Jisoo scratched his head, embarrassed. She looks exactly like Senior Jiang right now. Just then, Jiangmi's fury finally erupted. She grabbed the woman by the hair and growled. Why did you have to play so dirty? I don't know, the woman stammered. I didn't want to get involved with the Baeksan Association. I just did it for the money. The Baeksan Association. Jisoo suddenly remembered the guy who harassed Jiangmi at the karaoke bar. What is the Baeksan Association? Why would they pay you to attack her? You don't know, she asked, shocked. The Baeksan Association is an alliance of high schools that suddenly appeared in Dongnam about half a year ago. Their scale is much larger than a typical gang. Much larger. All the big shots are gathered there. Their growth rate is terrifying. An alliance of high schools. I don't understand why you guys got involved with them. The target Ji-ho mentioned was the 6-subject student. She recalled her conversation with Ji-ho. He said if he could make a few playthings out of the 6 subjects, he could join the 5 dragons. They were targeting the 6 subjects, not Jiangmi. Jisoo was stunned. Why? Most schools in the southeast have already been swallowed by the Baeksan Association. Only the northern area remains where the 6 subjects are in control. Jisoo recalled Ji-ho's words. I'm curious about the skills of those 6-subject punks. So this was a test. I've told you everything. Please let me go, the woman begged. But Jiangmi wasn't someone who would let it slide. She grabbed the woman's collar, her smile looking both beautiful and terrifying. The debt for that taser. It's time to pay it back now. A piercing scream echoed, ending the fight. After that incident, Jisoo and Jiangmi walked home together again. Their relationship, built on battles and secrets, had grown one level closer. On the way, Jisoo turned to Jiangmi, his voice full of guilt. I'm sorry. You got dragged into this mess again, just because of my school. Jiangmi just gave a small laugh. It's fine. It's not your fault. Besides, I have my own inseparable connection to the 6 subjects, you know. Jisoo suddenly remembered. He pointed at her and exclaimed like a child. That's right. Senior Jiangmi playfully interrupted him. Maybe it was destiny for us to get involved with each other. I'm really glad you think so. Jisoo smiled, confidence gleaming in his eyes. No matter how ferocious the Baeksan Association gets, they're no match for the 6 subjects under Brother Jiang's leadership. The guys we fought today weren't really that intimidating. That's right, because my brother is very special. Jiangmi agreed, then looked at Jisoo with sparkling eyes. But you looked pretty cool back there yourself, you know. Jisoo blushed and scratched her head. Thank you, I owe you one again. He thought to himself, seeing her radiant smile. I'm so glad I was able to protect you, Kangmi. Meanwhile, in another dark corner of the city, Ji-ho, the defeated leader of the Baeksan clan, was kneeling on the ground, trembling and begging a stranger who was grabbing one of his subordinates by the collar, his voice as cold as ice. Sir, we didn't mean to mess things up. Ji-ho, please, I beg you, Ji-ho. The stranger snarled. Your problem is that you don't know your place and always do useless things. He stomped his foot right on Ji-ho's face, grinding it down. The plan to conquer the north of Dongnam is nearly complete. It doesn't matter whether you care or not. From today, Jiho is demoted to a player. His face was shrouded in darkness, revealing only an absolute and terrifying power. He is Tyrant Gun number 5 of the Baeksan clan. The other players are going to be so happy. Tyrant smirked a smile completely devoid of warmth. See you in the Coliseum. In another alley, a group of young punks was being taught a lesson by a huge guy. What were you kids thinking running away from home? Trying to join Cheonpung, huh? One of the kids mustered up his courage and replied, "We heard we could get food and a place to stay here." Wham! A heavy punch sent the kid flying into the iron fence. The rest of their faces went pale. "A place to eat and live." The big guy roared, "Do you think Cheonpung is some kind of charity shelter, you idiots? He is Gong Jinseok, the leader of the Cheonpung gang." Seeing his rage, the kids all fled in terror. "So you're just going to abandon your friend and run a bunch of cowards?" Gong Jinseok clicked his tongue in disappointment. He sat down on a chair, muttering, "The new recruits suck these days, not a single decent one among them." His subordinate lit a cigarette for him. "It's probably because of the Baeksan clan they've snatched up all the good ones. I can't let Cheonpung stay a small-time gang forever." Gong Jin-sok took a long drag from his cigarette. Just then, a voice echoed from the end of the alley. "Are you that short on people?" Everyone turned in surprise. It was Park Yong-ho. He walked out of the shadows with his hands in his pockets, a look of feigned smugness on his face. Why has Cheonpung become so pathetic? All of Cheonpung's underlings got angry. This crazy bastard. "Do you know where you are? How dare you show up here?" Park Yong-ho just scoffed, pointing towards the kids who had just run away. "How about giving me a spot? Compared to those brats, I'm the real deal." Gong Jinseok stepped forward, looking straight at Park Yong-ho with an emotionless gaze. "Young-ho, you were kicked out. How dare you come back? Have you no shame? If you want to come back, that's fine. But what do you have to offer in return?" Park Yong-ho took a deep breath, swallowing the last of his pride. He looked at Gong Jin-sok, his voice hoarse and filled with desperation. "I'll do whatever you tell me to. I'll do anything." Park Yong-ho's words made the smile on Gong Jin-sok's lips turn sinister. He nodded. Cheonpung had officially opened its arms to welcome back its prodigal son. The next day, Jisoo felt completely worn out. He was planning to stop by the nurse's office for some painkillers when he stepped out of the classroom. He ran into a familiar scene. Park Yong-ho was being cornered by Kang In-ha's lackeys. A guy with a mohawk put his arm around Park Yong-ho's shoulder, his tone patronizing. "You must have had it rough lately, huh? Everyone gets angry sometimes. In-ha is a bit strict, but we'll give you a chance. We just need to put in a good word for you, and he'll take you back." They were clearly trying to humiliate Park Yong-ho, forcing him to beg. But what they didn't expect was that the Park Yong-ho of today was different. He frowned and swatted the other guy's hand away. "Cut the crap and get to the point." The guy with the pompadour was stunned for a moment, but quickly regained his condescending look. "You haven't changed, have you? I heard that back when you were in Cheonpung, you were close to a lot of runaway girls, right? You must be their type. We were hoping you could introduce a few to us." Park Yong-ho shoved the other guy away, his eyes blazing. "I have no intention of being your errand boy. Piss off." He turned his back and walked away. The guy with the pompadour was furious. "I was just trying to have a little fun with you, and you dared to disrespect me like that." He picked up a Coke can from the trash and threw it straight at Park Yong-ho. "You son of a bitch." In an unbelievable moment, Park Yong-ho spun and threw a hook kick, sending the Coke can flying past the two guys' faces like a bullet and embedding it straight into the wall. In your dreams, Park Yong-ho roared. "The only reason I hung out with you guys was because of Gangun. Do you really think I'll let you push me around now that I've dropped out of school?" "What dropped out?" The two guys' jaws dropped in astonishment. In-ha. "You heard him. Are you serious?" Park Yong-ho shamelessly raised his middle finger with a contemptuous smirk. "Why wear myself out at a school like this? You guys can stay and keep licking Kang In-ha's ass." Standing from a distance, Jisoo heard every word. The news that Park Yong-ho had dropped out left him shaken that afternoon. Park Yong-ho left the school carrying a box of his belongings. He tried to push the two names, Kang In-ha and Gang-un, out of his head. His only goal now was to start over with Cheonpung. Hey, Park Yong-ho," a familiar voice called out. Jisoo had been secretly following him. "I need to talk to you." Is it true you dropped out? Jisoo assumed it was because of the loss at the arena and quickly suggested, why don't we go back there for a rematch? That was a mistake. Park Young-ho's expression immediately turned grim. He slammed the box to the ground and lunged, grabbing Jisoo by the collar. You son of a bitch, he roared, his eyes bloodshot. You're enjoying this, aren't you? You think you can just say that and fix everything? Jisoo was terrified. He felt like he had just provoked a cornered beast. You better watch your back from now on, you bastard. Park Young-ho tightened his grip. This isn't just about that damn arena anymore. I'll kill you right here on the spot. After venting his anger, he forcefully shoved Jisoo away and turned to leave. He was still muttering curses. Park Young-ho's bizarre behavior made Jisoo wonder, this has nothing to do with me, but why can't I stop thinking about it? Meanwhile, a letter accidentally fell from Park Young-ho's box, landing right at Jisoo's feet. He curiously bent down to pick it up. That night, at an abandoned gas station, a group of people sat around a burning oil drum complaining to each other. Ha! You got cleaned out again. It's all Cheonpung's fault. They have no respect and even demand protection money. Those dogs. I'll deal with them sooner or later. They have numbers, but they're all a bunch of weaklings. Just then, a figure emerged from the shadows, an iron pipe in hand. It was Park Young-ho. The group fell silent, staring at him in shock as Park Young-ho spoke. His ice-cold voice echoed through the gas station. You all have two choices. 1, join Cheonpung. 2, get the hell out of here. Which will it be? Isn't that the guy Park Young-ho? One of the gang members sneered. I heard you used to be Kang In-ha's lapdog. Did you get kicked to the curb and come crawling back to Cheonpung? You have absolutely no shame. The taunts were like needles stabbing into Park Young-ho's already shattered pride. He recalled his conversation with Gong Jin-seok. The leader of Cheonpung, that bastard Jong-gun, is eyeing our territory. Go take him out. Finish the job, and I'll consider letting you back in. There was no other way. Park Young-ho gritted his teeth. To get back what he'd lost, he had to crush these guys. 2 thugs with iron pipes rushed him. All talk. You got a death wish coming here alone. Clang, Park Young-ho raised his pipe to block the blow, the impact making his arm go numb. At the same time, another guy jumped from behind, going for a finishing blow, but Park Young-ho was one step ahead. He spun around, cleanly blocking the kick with his armored shin. What now? Park Young-ho let out a wild smirk. This shin guard is bulletproof. You dog. With those words, he unleashed a spinning kick, sending both of them flying. Maezong-gun and the rest of his crew roared in anger. Park Young-ho didn't flinch, raising his pipe in challenge. Bring it on. The battle erupted. It was Park Young-ho alone against a pack of wolves. He charged forward his pipe, weaving deadly arcs. I have to win no matter what it takes. He screamed silently. Meanwhile, in the Cheonpung headquarters, Gong Jin-seok was staring at an old photograph. It was a picture of him and Park Young-ho back when they were brothers. Boss, one of his underlings asked, are you really going to take Park Young-ho back? Gong Jin-seok let out a cold laugh. Take him back, not a chance. He pulled out a lighter, the flame flaring up and licking at the photograph. Dogs like Park Young-ho are to be thrown away once you're tired of them. The image of the 2 teens standing shoulder to shoulder in the photo slowly turned to ash, just like the loyalty Park Young-ho was risking his life to prove. Back at the gas station, the fight was over. Park Young-ho stood among the sprawled bodies, panting and covered in wounds. Only Maezong-gun, their leader, remained trembling as he backed away. You're a monster, he stammered. You weren't this strong before. Park Young-ho wiped the blood from his face, his smile turning sinister. I'm different now. Don't compare me to who I was before. I gave you 2 choices earlier, right? Now there's only one. He stepped forward, stomping the toe of his shoe hard onto Maezong-gun's face. A terrifying madness blazed in Park Young-ho's eyes. Maezong-gun was eliminated. At Yukguan High, 2 students were carrying a box of old items. That damn Park Young-ho. He dropped out of school, but he's still making trouble. Hey, did you hear he's back with Cheonpung? Rumor is he's coming back to deal with everyone he hates at Yukguan. The Cheonpung guys are crazy. We have to be careful. This chatter accidentally reached Jisoo's ears, and he turned to Jin-woon. Did you hear about Young-ho dropping out? I heard bits and pieces. Jin-woon shrugged. He got kicked to the curb by Kang In-ha, so of course he had to leave. Without Kang In-ha, there's no way he could have survived at this school. Jisoo remained silent. A vague sense of unease crept into his mind. It seemed like Park Yong-ho's story wasn't over yet. Jisoo's curiosity was piqued. Did he really drop out? Does that mean he doesn't have anyone to hang out with? Who'd want to hang out with him? The blonde-haired friend chimed in, his voice full of contempt. Without Kang In-ha's crew to protect him, he's just a total outcast. Jisoo could only respond awkwardly. Is that so? That afternoon, as long shadows stretched across the playground, Jisoo arrived at an orphanage. A group of kids were happily playing red light, green light. One of them faced a wall, quickly chanting the rhyme, while the others tried to creep forward without being spotted. It was a peaceful and happy scene. When the children saw Jisoo, they stopped playing, their wide, curious eyes staring at him. Who are you? Hey kids. Jisoo scratched his head, a bit embarrassed. I'm looking for someone. Is there a person named Jung-hyun here? Are you looking for me for some reason? A clear feminine voice called out from the gate. A cute, well-built girl emerged. I'm Jung-hyun. They sat down on a stone bench. Jisoo handed the girl a crumpled letter explaining that he had found it when Park Yong-ho was clearing out his things from school. The recipient's address on the letter was Jung-hyun's. At the Dongneung orphanage holding the letter, Jung-hyun's heart sank and she choked up as she heard Jisoo say that Park Jong-ho had dropped out. Jisoo said that he didn't know where Jong-ho lived, so he could only follow the address on the letter to bring it here. But Jung-hyun mumbled helplessly, I don't know how to return it to him either. What do you mean? Aren't you two very close? After Yong-ho left the orphanage, I no longer knew where he lived. I only knew his school's address, so I sent the letter there. Jisoo was stunned and blurted out, Park Yong-ho is from here. Jung-hyun's eyes showed a hint of sadness. Yes, Yong-ho is also an orphan, just like the other children here. We grew up together. She began to recount how she used to be bullied by a group of bigger kids for protecting the younger ones. Those thugs would often come here to extort the children. You fatherless, motherless orphans are so damn noisy. The leader arrogantly said, Next time, make sure you pay up. If you don't like it, go cry to your mommy and daddy. Haha. But every time one person would stand up a little hero, and that was Park Yong-ho. He bravely protected everyone, becoming a sturdy shield for his weaker siblings. But ironically, that same hero was also a victim. When his younger siblings weren't around, Yong-ho would always get ganged up on by other street kids. They were more numerous and more ruthless. What can a little orphan do? If you don't have parents, you should know your place. That painful past repeated itself over and over. In middle school, things got even worse. The once cheerful, smiling boy gradually became silent and gloomy, and then during his darkest times, he sought out a place called Cheonpung. Standing before a luxurious villa, Park Yong-ho, after running away from the orphanage, decided to sell his soul to the devil. A long time later he returned, but he was no longer the hero from before. His entire body was covered in menacing tattoos. Even Jung-hyun felt scared. Faced with this complete stranger, he had changed forever. However, when he met the kids again, Park Yong-ho seemed to transform into a different person. The aggression vanished, replaced by a warm smile. He joked around happily. He hugged each of them tightly like a big brother returning home after a long trip. Thorny and fierce on the outside, but with a surprisingly gentle heart on the inside. Jung-hyun continued, her voice choked with emotion. He used to bring us gifts every month, but recently he stopped coming. I'm so worried. Now he's even dropped out of school. I don't know what to do. Jisoo was speechless. The Park Yong-ho the girl was describing sounded like a complete stranger. Jung-hyun's hands trembled as tears began to stream down her cheeks. Sometimes I'm just so scared. Scared that one day the Yong-ho I know will disappear and become someone terrifying. Seeing Jung-hyun cry, Jisoo's heart grew heavy. He wanted to comfort her, but didn't know what to say. That night at the Cheonpung villa, Gong Jin-sok was in a furious rage. He was mercilessly beating a subordinate with a wrench for not meeting his quota. He only stopped when the guy begged pitifully and promised to make up for it next month, but not without throwing out a threat. He walked over to Park Yong-ho muttering, Kids these days are so weak. It wasn't like this in our time, right? Yong-ho, I need a mad dog like you. He clapped Park Yong-ho on the shoulder. Heard you took care of Mae Zong-gun's crew already. And you're still alive, huh? They were nothing. Park Yong-ho replied coldly. Gong Jin-sok sat down, his tone full of mockery. All right, consider your slate wiped clean. Let me think. Should I let you back into Cheonpung or not? Those words were like a trigger as Park Yong-ho roared, "What do you mean by that? You thought you could come back just by taking care of Maisong-gun. Hey Park Yong-ho, ever since you betrayed us, the evaluation standards have gotten a lot stricter." Park Yong-ho gritted his teeth, trying to suppress his anger. "So what else do I have to do? You said you would do anything right." Gong Jin-seok flashed a sinister smile. "In that case, can you kill someone?" That question hit Park Yong-ho like a splash of cold water. He froze. What could kill someone? Seeing the terrified look on Park Yong-ho's face, Gong Jin-seok could not hold it in any longer. He burst out laughing hysterically. "This is so damn funny. This idiot actually believed it. Did you guys see that? He really believed it." He slapped his thigh. "Hey, wipe that stupid look off your face. Ha ha." Park Yong-ho felt like a complete fool and roared, "You have taken this joke too far." Instantly, the smile on Gong Jin-seok's face vanished. He stubbed out his cigarette and his voice turned dangerous. "But I am not joking. The job you have to do is just as thrilling as murder." He flicked on a lighter, holding the flame in front of Park Yong-ho's face. "All you have to do is burn one motorcycle. Here is the down payment." He threw a stack of cash on the table. "Finish this job, and you will be welcome back to Cheonpung." On the way home, Park Yong-ho's mind was a mess. He told me to burn a bike. If something goes wrong, how will I ever get out of the reformatory? Oh God, at a time like this, am I still worrying about stuff like that? He just kept walking with his head down. Without realizing it, he found himself in front of the Junghyun orphanage. Why did I come here? He silently cursed himself. Yong-ho. A clear voice called out from behind him. He turned around, startled. It was Junghyun. She stood there shyly and asked, "It is really you, Yong-ho?" The two of them sat down on the swings in a nearby park. Junghyun was overjoyed to see Park Yong-ho again. "Why are you out alone at this hour? It is dangerous." Park Yong-ho asked. "I could not sleep, so I came out for a walk." Junghyun replied, "Have you been doing well lately? I called you so many times, but I could not get through." To hide his scars both inside and out, Park Yong-ho forced a smile. "I am doing well," he lied. "I have just been very busy." But that clumsy lie could not fool Junghyun. She grew up with him and knew him better than anyone. "You are such a bad liar." She snapped, her voice a mix of anger and concern. "I can tell just by looking at your face that you are not doing okay. But being here reminds me of the old days we used to sit on these swings when we were kids." Hearing that, the wall around Yong-ho's heart cracked a little. He looked at the old playground. A rare nostalgic smile gracing his lips. "I never had time to play. I always had to push the other kids on the swings, 2 at a time even."